get the power cords plugged in, otherwise the show will die while we're in session. We're going to be talking about explaining to a newbie. Let's say somebody had just moved in the country. You had to tell them what MAGA is about. They see these Trump hats everywhere. To the country, what MAGA was about. How would you respond to that? That's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so let me get my last stream up, and we should have the show going momentarily here. But we're talking about explaining what MAGA is to a newbie. Somebody, like for instance, somebody who had just entered the country, or somebody was overseas watching media in the United States, and they're like, you got this group of people over there that wear red hats. They say MAGA and Make America Great, and your job was to explain to somebody who had no clue what it is. You had to explain it and what it means. That's what today's show is going to be about, because I got asked that question. But my viewers, I want to hear your opinion on that. So give me a moment to get my last stream up here on YouTube, and we should be going momentarily if I can figure out what the hell's going on with. There we go. So we're going to do our last YouTube live. Security power. Okay, what the hell does that mean? All right, let's see here. And I do believe we are right now. The only stream that's running is the one that's on Instagram or in YouTube. Some of you YouTubers are here as well. But give me a minute to get this last one up here. Describing them to a newbie, because at the end of the day, our politics is known worldwide. So other people in other countries, are aware of who our politicians are, and how America's ran to some degree. Okay, so I'm just typing this in here. So we should be up in about a minute. I had to redo this screen here, but it's just about ready to go. Thank you folks that are already streaming in. I see a few of you are already here on YouTube. So, and a few of you are here on Instagram. We have not started TikTok, but once I get this last bit typed in, we'll be good to go. I think that's just about it. Last but not least, want to make sure we always put in these lives are not for kids, because YouTube is serious about that. And obviously the subject matter that we talk about, it certainly is not for the under 18. So, all right, so we should be good now. I think that one's coming up. And last but not least, we'll go ahead and go live in 3, 2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal, depending on who you ask. Anyhow, I do appreciate you folks tuning in. Today we're going to make it kind of simple. Got a simple topic here tonight. Simply put, I got asked this question, as you see on the monitor behind me, and I want to pass it on to my fine viewers. Whether you lean left or right is irrelevant. You guys know how we've always ran the program from day one. Even though we are MAGA friendly and MAGA are my preferred guests, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So liberals are always welcome on the program. Nevertheless, I was asked by somebody I used to know overseas. I still talk to some of my connections from when I lived down in the South Pacific. And somebody asked me after watching one of my shows on social media, what does MAGA mean? What is MAGA? So tonight, I'm going to basically hand that question off to you folks, because everybody seems to have a different answer. You folks do it, but we're going to be taking it from a standpoint of what does MAGA mean to individuals. Let's say you're talking to someone who is new. I want to say a foreigner or a newbie. Let's say somebody had just came to the United States for the first time, and they're going out to Starbucks or something like that, or they're leaving the airport, and they happen to see a few folks wearing MAGA hats, Make America Great Again hats. Some hats say Make America Great. Some hats say keep America great. Some has just say MAGA. I mean, there's a whole lot of different types of MAGA hats that all mean the same thing. All different colors, you name it. But if somebody wanted to know why are people wearing this hat that says "Make America Great Again" or says MAGA, how would you describe MAGA to a newbie, to a foreigner, to somebody who had no clue what it meant? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I want you guys to give me your best take on it because I've been trying to answer it and I don't always have the best answer for it. Nevertheless, we do have a couple more topics, but it's just for shits and giggles. There have been other folks, via the internet that have certainly gave their best effort to describe what MAGA means. I'll give you somebody that is by no means a stranger to MAGA, but also not necessarily anyone that MAGA would give the time of day for. The one and only Nancy Pelosi.
Supreme Court did not rule in their favor because they said the administration did not give sufficient evidence as to why the census citizenship question should be there. So they kicked the can. And then the administration said, okay, we won't put it on there. And then the president injected himself into this. But this is about keeping, make America, this hat, make America white again. They want to make sure that certain people are counted.
Now that's Nancy Pelosi. I want to hear your opinion on her. I mean, obviously, she seems to think that "Make America Great Again" is about something fairly sinister. I'll leave that one up to you folks. I want to hear your opinion on that. But there are others. There are individuals all over the internet speaking on what "Make America Great Again," which is what you guys are going to be doing today.
Well, I think that's the legacy of this entire era of MAGA Trumpism. It's do as I say, not as I do. They want to talk about family values and being pro-life and the sanctity of life, yet when one of their own is engaged in multiple abortions, they're fine with it. They're out campaigning for them. They're out raising money for them.
Without shame.
And I think it was someone who said, well, as long as he votes Republican, what does it matter? And this is a party that clearly stands for absolutely nothing except trying to obtain power and then weaponizing that power to control other people. I mean, the irony here is that their agenda is we're going to take rights away from women. We're going to do these things. Use the instrument of government, big government, which Republicans used to spend a lot of time decrying about. Now they're going to use that to try to tell people what they can and can't do with their bodies. The contrast is so clear and the hypocrisy is off the charts.
Wow. Like I said, we're going to hear opinions from all sides of the aisle. So I do want to hear from you folks. We're talking about describing MAGA to a newbie, to foreigners, to people who have never really had any affiliation, don't know what the hell the movement is about. I want to hear from you folks. And I definitely want to hear from some MAGA. I want MAGA to also come through and describe this. Now, we have a couple side topics on this, but I do want to hear from you folks. Nevertheless, speaking of foreigners,
Make America Great Again is synonymous with Make America White Again.
You have somebody that's a presidential candidate. What is his claim to fame? Make America great again. What have people interpreted that to mean? Make America white again.
Why are people doing that? Now that's going to be the spin-off to this topic. Why are so many people suggesting that "Make America Great Again" means something racist? Because being great should have nothing to do with racism. Why are there so many people that are suggesting this? I want to hear from you folks. Are they all getting it wrong? Are they speaking out of the back of their ass? What the hell is making them say that? That this is somehow some sort of movement that may or may not be racist. I want to hear from you folks on that. And last but not least, I've been asked this many times, and I want to hear from you folks in regards to when exactly was America great? Because if you say again, obviously you're talking about a time that has been gone, a time that's gone or a time in the past, and we want to go back to that. Let's go back to McDonald's again. That means we've been there before. So if you say, "Make America Great Again," it obviously means we're referring to some time in the past that is definitely better than where we are at now. So I want to hear from you folks. Nevertheless, that is all we're talking about today because somebody threw this at me and I didn't have a clear-cut answer. So I figured I'd come to one of the most interesting audiences on social media and get it from you folks. So we'll start the program out as always, making it clear that we don't block, ban, or censor anyone, and that's going to apply today as well. So it doesn't matter what your answer is. We're not going to censor you for your answer, whether it is very favorable of MAGA or very critical of MAGA or anywhere in the damn middle. We believe in letting people speak without censorship. That's not going to change today. And of course, MAGA are my preferred guests. But nevertheless, we go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. Everybody gets to speak. If you enjoy that type of dialogue, feel free to follow us if you're watching on TikTok or currently Instagram. And if you happen to be watching on YouTube, give your boy a sub. So looking in the comments, what do you mean your other account, someone banned me? Banned you how? I don't get what you're saying there. Everything she has done is for herself and party, nothing for the people or the country. Now, I assume you're referring to Nancy Pelosi, fair enough. But if you don't like Nancy Pelosi, that's understandable. A whole lot of people don't like Nancy Pelosi. But that doesn't mean the definition she gives is either right or wrong solely because you think she's a criminal. Criminal can tell you something that's correct. So we're going to talk about it from that standpoint. So we're asking, describe Make America Great Again to a newbie or a foreigner. Going to the box. We'll go straight to the one and only Jeremy. Good evening, Jeremy. Welcome to the program. Now, Jeremy, I know you voted for Trump. You've had a few, your few disappointments out of the Trump administration, but you'd be a perfect candidate to describe this. If you had to describe what Make America Great means to someone who had no clue what it was about, your take?
I would say it is a populist revival of the old Americana spirit, of old Americana, and its goal, in part as a movement, was to put Donald Trump in office in order to bring back the elements of America that we thought were great in the past, while keeping the elements we thought were not so great in the past.
Give me the great elements first.
The great elements were a secure border, of an intact family unit, upward social mobility, and I would say a greater emphasis on the rights to the Second Amendment.
Okay, now, first of all, you said a secure border. Obviously, Trump is doing a hell of a lot to make sure that happens. You guys know I often give Trump an A+ in securing the border. But when you say an intact family unit, now that Trump's been in office for 4 years and about 8 months, can you describe anything he's done to promote an intact family unit? I mean, has he done anything to help keep the family intact?
Well, he does. He is trying to push for people to become actual parents, because we've had a large birth decline. Now, I don't think he's done a good job of it. I think he's ignored the actual problem that's causing this, and instead decided to just give people money. But he's like offering people money from the government to start families and stuff. And I even heard about a stimulus. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, he was talking about $5,000 per child. But I think where you and I have a difference here is there's the difference between promoting folks to procreate versus an intact family. For instance, he's offering I think he was talking about potentially giving people $5,000 to have a child. Okay, so she had a child. That don't mean she got to be with the man. So what is he doing to promote the two to stay together?
To be honest, I can't really say he's done a whole lot in that particular direction. He hasn't changed any of the laws about marriage on the books. He hasn't de-incentivized a lot of programs. It's all kind of like a big failure, in my opinion. Again, I'm very critical. I know. The thing is, I think he was much better in his first term, because he, at least in the first term, he may have not done a lot for the family, but he did a lot for other things. Like, he actually tried. Unfortunately, he failed, but he actually put in a college try into securing the border. securing the border. He like by building the wall, which unfortunately remains unfinished. He actually got the economy to be a lot better, and he helped with social mobility. Fortunately, the pandemic kind of messed a lot of stuff up, but it was what it was.
How do you think he had the pandemic, since you mentioned that?
Shaky. Some things I liked, some things I didn't. I did not like how he went back on 3 weeks to slow the spread. Like we all shut down for years, my guy. There are children who are going to grow up with messed up psychology. Specifically, they're going to grow up with less ability to socially interact because they had to wear a mask on their face and hide it at home instead of socializing. That's a key, like for young kids, that's a key part of their development when they're really young.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, and I do agree that children need social interaction, but how long were we wearing masks and shut down? I mean, out of a child's entire adolescence, yeah. You're an adolescent from what, the age of about 3 to about 15? It does represent a small span of time for somebody's childhood, though.
Right, yeah, but the younger you are, the more vital that is. So it's more vital when you're like 2 or 3 to see your parents' face and to see the faces of other kids than it is when you're like 16 and you've already had some of that experience. Although it is still vital then. Like it really messed people up. I wish they would have at least made the masks clear so you could see through them or something.
It's interesting. I'm laughing, but it's interesting you said it because I knew a really pretty girl who hated it because she was like, I got such a beautiful smile, and she was dating, and she was like, I can't show people my smile, and it's one of my biggest features. So you do make a point, but in the comments, Dencal also made a point by stating that's not something the rest of the world didn't go through. Everybody was wearing masks and avoiding each other. That's something the whole world went through.
I know. Unfortunately, and I think it was wrong. I think we found out that we had the ability to prevent people from getting sick most of the time. And the people who were the most at risk were people who were not going outside that much to begin with. Small children and the elderly. Now, I understand, with children, it's a little bit different, and because they want to be around other kids. To a large degree, this virus is not as deadly as people said it was.
So let me ask you,
it was novel. We didn't know how bad it was going to be. But once we found out, we should have started opening up a lot faster, and we should have really helped people. The one thing I will say that Trump did do is he started and Biden then finished, and I'm going to give them both credit for this. Operation Warp Speed.
Okay, so let me ask you this: in your opinion, do you think America would have been better off, or even the same, or worse, had we not worn masks or closed down at all? Do you think we would have fared better by just letting everything stay open, letting the kids not wear masks, continuing school, businesses open as usual? Or do you think we would have been worse if we had done that?
Well, it would have been a little bit of both. You see, the thing is, you got to understand this about viruses. Viruses actually, over time, become less deadly, not more, because they don't get eradicated as often when they're less deadly. So it's much more likely that over time, the different strains would become less and less potent.
Yeah, but you do realize people are dying while we're trying to figure out when it's going to come less deadly, right? Based on what you're saying, people are dying. So you're going to do a trial and error with people's lives until it becomes less deadly?
Yeah, but the way it was handled in the United States was just horrible. Now, my position is that we should have shut down for a while until we understood more about the virus, but then we should have opened up a lot sooner.
What is a while?
So I would say about 9 months.
You know, there was plenty of people on your side of the aisle that did not want to shut down at all. I think it was Stevie D in the comments said Texas only shut down for 3 months, thank God. Remember, Florida wasn't shutting down at all, and as a result, New York was banning Floridians from coming to their state. I mean, some states, 3 months is nowhere near. Your 9 months is significant compared to how some Republicans thought.
Yeah, I know, but I think 9 months would have been good because we would have understood a lot more about the virus. There were people who absolutely did die from it. But although what a lot of people will, especially on the left, will not admit to is that a lot of these people already had severe comorbidities. For instance, people who were morbidly obese, people who were like extremely elderly, so they had a depleted immune system and overall function, people who were autoimmune deficient, immune, they had a bad immune response, and those people I think should be protected. Okay, I absolutely do.
Well, they're not going to be. You can't protect it. You can't protect the elderly or the immunocompromised if the young, healthy folks are like, I don't want any restrictions on my life. I want to be. I mean, you would basically have to keep the elderly people in their houses because the young folks are not willing to make any sacrifices.
Right. I think there should be like some level of cooperation. The thing is, we didn't just have this middle ground like the one we're talking about right now. You and me, Tim. You and me were reasonable, okay? We didn't have a middle ground where we could be like, okay, be kind to these people. They're older or they have comorbidities. Is they need a space where they can go. Oh, that is like safe for them to go. And we need to like maybe like wipe things down more. They just shut everything down hard.
Do you think that could have been more likely achieved if Trump had simply said exactly what you just stated to the American people? Because Trump was giving all sorts of messages about what to do.
Yes, it absolutely could have, and that's why I say his handling of the whole thing was shaky.
Shaky. I mean, that's a synonym for something else. I just don't know what it is. People, my comment section is inundated with people saying, well, what is his medical qualification? Now, you're a dishwasher, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you obviously don't have a medical degree. People are asking me constantly, what is your medical qualification?
Talk to your doctor. Okay, if you don't agree with me, talk to your own doctor. They'll probably agree with what a lot of what I'm saying. There are plenty of doctors that agree with what I say and think that there are doctors on TikTok, on YouTube, on every social media app that are fully qualified, that have their own practice. You can look them up and their practice, and they say exactly the same thing that I've been saying.
You do understand, though, the overwhelming amount of doctors and medical professionals were in favor of being vaccinated. I mean, there were some doctors and some medical professionals, but the overwhelming majority of medical professionals were in favor of being vaccinated.
I have no problem with vaccination. I have a problem with mandated vaccinations because some people are allergic to the ingredients. There's some people who actually it's dangerous for them to get the vaccination. Some people are just unneeded.
You weren't mandated. There was no mandate to be vaccinated. You realize how many millions of Americans, especially on the right, are not vaccinated to this day? There was no mandate that you get vaccinated.
If you were a government worker, you were absolutely mandated or you lost your job.
Okay, then quit your job. I mean, if the whole staff, all the customers, nobody wants to be around a non-vaccinated person, you saying you should be able to say fuck them and come there without the vaccination anyway? Against all of the customers and all of your coworkers, you should just be able to do what you want?
It's not always there's no such thing as a cure-all, my friend.
No, there is a cure-all. Find you another job. That's the cure-all. Everybody wins. You get your freedom, they get their freedom.
Yeah, I understand that, Ed, but come on, that's a little bit ignorant to say. Just find another job. What if you went to school for 4 years to get the job in the government that you have right now, and you have mortgages and car payments, okay, and you have to get vaccinated within the next 2 days or your ass is grass.
One word, and I'm just going to simply say this is the same answer you give when we're talking about jobs not paying enough and minimum wage and all of that stuff. Find another job. If you don't like what the wages they're paying you, find another job. You don't help them. Why should they help you? I'm just going to simply say, let's say I got a restaurant. I got 20 servers working for me. You're my dishwasher. All of them are vaccinated. All of my customers only come here because they feel safe at this business. And you're going to tell me, despite all of that, I should allow you to come to work unvaccinated. So all of my workers are sitting around with no customers now because of you. Some of them are calling off now. We should do all of this to adhere to your wishes, or should you just find another job?
Well, I think that there's a happy medium here.
What is it?
I think that I think that maybe finding another job wouldn't be a bad idea, but at least give me some time to find another job, because the whole country was shut down for a long time and jobs were very scarce and hard to come by. Not only that, but here's the thing: what if that's the reason why people come to your restaurant? But at the same time, if I get the vaccination, I could have heart problems, and my doctor told me so. And we had and I've talked to maybe more than one doctor, and they said, yeah, with your heart condition and the way your heart would react to the ingredients of the actual vaccination could actually hurt you.
Yeah, but what about all of my elderly? What about all of my elderly customers? But what about all of my elderly customers whose doctors are telling them the same thing could happen to them if they come down with the virus? I mean, we can't have you in the business when you're scaring away all the clientele.
Well, there's things like face shields. There's things like covers.
There's things like resumes and applications, Jeremy. Find another job. You don't have to be here. Nobody wants you here like that. Just find another job. I mean, nobody's going to want to work with you or be served by you. Just find another job.
Maybe in time. But it is a little cruel to just say, yeah, well, I'll spend your entire life and potentially give yourself a heart attack by taking something that your doctor told you not to, or you lose your job.
Yeah, but it's really cruel to tell my customers who may be in the same boat that, well, I had to come to work, so I'm sorry that you got COVID now and you're in the hospital laid up hoping to survive, but I needed to come to work, so all of you guys that are perishing because of me, well, I mean, just find another job. There are people that will hire you. Apparently, if what you're saying is right, there should be other employers that'll hire you.
It's hard to say, man. It's hard to say, but I think there's a happy medium somewhere. At least it's make the person wear a face shield and some covers.
Well,
and some disposable gloves.
There may be a happy medium in a handful of places where maybe you can work from home, or you can be put in a closet somewhere like Small Wonder from the 80s. But if it's a job where you got to be out and you got to deal with customers and interact, I believe the employer should have just as much rights and freedoms as you do as a citizen. If you don't want to be vaccinated, you shouldn't have to be. If he don't want to be around you, he shouldn't have to do that either. So both of you guys, that way both of your freedoms are preserved. If your decision costs you your job, that is your decision. That is your job. Your decision shouldn't cost somebody else their life or their health or even put it at risk. So just find another job. That's the way I look at it. I'll give you the last word.
Okay, well, this larger conversation was about what MAGA is, right?
Right.
I think MAGA is a dying breed now because I think that Trump broke his own promises.
Whoa, a dying breed?
Yes, because Trump broke his own promises. And I think that there was a lot that MAGA was willing to put up with until the Epstein files hit. And now we know that Epstein was an FBI informant.
Now, wait, who was an FBI informant?
Well, it turns out there are documents out there that prove that Epstein was working with the feds. He was working with the FBI.
Do you think, so you really do think that there are things that could come out of this whole Epstein saga that could cause MAGA to separate from Trump?
Yes, and at the end of the day, the only way Trump is getting out of this alive is if he releases the Epstein files.
I don't know, Jeremy. I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you here, but I don't know if I feel confident about that. I got to move it on, though. I see Stevie D saying it already has. Wow. Stevie, I wish you could come up with saying that, but Jeremy, thanks for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, man, anytime. By the way, tap the screen. I'm trying to reset my damn computer. You guys know how the program is ran. We don't block, ban, or censor, so feel free to follow the program if you're watching on TikTok or Instagram. Give me a sub if you're watching on YouTube. Real quick, I'm going to be saying this throughout the live. We've got a Facebook page where that's going to be my next platform going live on. You see it scrolling behind me. Tim Liberals. I would ask that you do your boy a solid. Go to Facebook if you got Facebook. Follow Tim Liberals on Facebook. I think I need just a few more followers, and then boom, we can start going live on that platform. So if you got Facebook, go to Tim Liberals and follow that platform. Looking in the comments before we continue on, a COVID vaccination is completely different than any other vaccination you have to take. it's more akin to a flu shot prevention. Isn't the point of getting vaccinated for COVID? Look, I don't. The problem with, I think the biggest problem with the vax is the way. And my last caller admitted it. My last caller who voted for Trump admitted it. It's the way Trump rolled that out with mixed messaging. And I understand why Trump did it. Trump was running to get reelected in 2020. His biggest success was the economy, which was starting to be destroyed by the pandemic. So what Trump was trying to do going into the 2020 election is be able to say, look at this great economy. And the threat of having to close every damn thing down was a threat to his great economy. So he was stuck with listening to Fauci and the medical professionals that were saying close everything down versus I need to keep the economy roaring for my chance to get reelected. So he's giving mixed messages. He kind of want to save lives or at least do what the medical professionals are saying, but at the same time he wants to maintain a great economy. And there really was no way to do both. So he was doing splits here and there, telling, well, it's your choice. If you want to close down, you can. You don't have to and all. I mean, the messaging was terrible. And that's why even to this day, the group that has the most mixed messages on COVID are MAGA. You talk to independents and Democrats, they pretty much solidly know what they're going to do about that. MAGA is some vaccinated, some are not. Some think it's poison. Some think it wasn't that bad. I mean, they're all over the place. Because that's the message Trump was giving out. Anyhow, looking in the comments, sure, I'm not a scientist or virologist, but I think my internet research is enough for anti-science, anti-vax point of view that I'll loudly share with others unsolicited. Well, I don't know what the name says there, but that's what we're talking about. Anyway, let me go back to the box. I don't think anybody knows. I don't think anybody knows them. I think we had a whole lot of uneducated people stepping up, telling, I had people tell me I would be deceased by January 2021 because I took the vax. I had some Q folks, some of my beloved MAGA I talked to, that told me I was not going to be around anymore the fall of January 2021 because I got vaxxed. They were telling me it was there to thin the herd and it was going to take a lot of lives and you were going to see people dropping. 2021. Dencal, good evening. Welcome to the show. By the way, Dencal, thank you for your support. What does describing MAGA to a layman, if you had to describe MAGA to somebody who was totally ignorant, maybe a foreigner, somebody from another country, how would you tell someone asking, what does this Make America Great, these hats, what does that mean? I'm seeing all these people wearing this stuff. How would you answer that question? Good evening.
Yeah, I would say it means the same thing as it's meant anytime it's been used throughout history.
Explain.
It was used during, Germany in the 1930s.
Well, they couldn't. Well, Hitler. I mean, Adolf could not have said "Make America Great." It was make.
Oh no! I'm saying the connotation of "make this country great again." He's talking about a specific group of people. Even Reagan used the same verbiage. It means the same thing. They want to take it back to a time when they, the person saying it, and their group, they feel like they had complete control because it's all about the control slipping away. So they want to take it back. Any aspirational leader would say, let's be the best we've ever been. Let's go forward.
Fair enough.
When you say let's go backwards, that's in the connotation that it was great back then.
But what about what Jeremy said about intact families, securing the border? This is what he described as go ahead.
Those are dog whistles when you talk about back when the families were intact. Because when black families were intact, they did their damnedest to break them up.
Explain how.
Through the use of the welfare system, guaranteeing that men would not be a part of the household in order to get any kind of help from the government. Yeah. While the government knew damn well that the black men did not have any way of finding gainful employment, like that's a setup for the family. But if you look at the opposite side, you look at low-income housing, which was projects for African Americans, what was low income housing for Caucasian people?
What
It was trailer parks. It was trailer parks.
was that provided by the government though?
No, I'm just saying as far as that's what low income.
Yeah. I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were receiving government assistance.
Yeah, that is true.
And the man was still in the house.
So you definitely see, based on what you're saying, you see racism written all over MAGA. Sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, it's a way to be able to say it without the traditional connotation. Saying, you know, just like they use the Confederate flag. That's they say that's heritage.
Yeah,
it was a hateful heritage. It was a hateful heritage towards us. They loved each other, but they hated us.
It's about pride and heritage.
Back to a time when they loved themselves, but they hated other people. Because none of these times, the reason that this whole question is so crazy to me is that nobody can answer it, and you've been asking this question for like 10 years now. What does he mean by make America great? The reason that we cannot answer it is because it's not addressed to us.
Ooh. Yeah, you know, something that is an interesting point, because, you know, that is when it's asked to an African American, you do get a lot of even black MAGA often stumble in effort to answer this question, because I guess, you know, when you think about make America great again, that is obviously talking about going back to some period in the past. And for people of color, I mean, not only people of color, I would assume women and people of the LGBTQ community, indigenous, all of them are probably going to have a difficult time giving you a decent answer. Well, maybe the Native Americans might be okay with it, because they can absolutely think about a time back in history that was great for them. But everybody else, I don't know what answer they could give.
Well, I mean, you can ask the white people. They can't even answer it.
Well, I'm going to ask some white people.
I'm not going to say they can't. They don't want to say what it is. So they use those terms like, oh, when the family was together, and, you know, well, hell, a long time ago, in Africa, the families was together. Yeah. They broke the motherfuckers up. Shit. The black families was together in Black Wall Street. They broke the motherfuckers up.
But you don't think all MAGA is...
No.
Okay, you don't think they're all racist, do you?
I don't believe that, because I believe that I believe that they bought into the things that they're saying. They bought into, well, when it was like this, okay. I don't believe they all in their heart believe that is racist. I'm just saying that the dog whistle is racist, and that some people can hear it and some people can't.
Now, see in the comments, someone says MAGA means 1970s when we solved racism. So MAGA wants to take us back to a time back in the 1970s when we had just, you know, put in the civil rights movement and solved racism. That's what one of the viewers is saying.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm not going to say that we haven't made a ass ton of progress. Mm-hmm. That's not what I'm saying. But when we improve, who gets to say when we done progressing? People saying like, oh yeah, racism was gone away until Obama, until Obama was in office. Shit like that.
You hear that a lot.
No, there was still progress to be made.
Yeah, and I would follow that up by saying that we had passed the civil rights in the 1970s, but racism hadn't ended in the 1970s by any means. I mean, you still didn't have anybody black that could say they did a host of things, from Grammys to generals. I mean, there was so many things that black people had not done. 1970s was not exactly a stellar time for people of color.
It wasn't, but from their perspective, since they haven't experienced racism, to them, that means it was over, because there was a law that says you can't do the shit no more. When we already know that there was a couple of years ago when I got a letter from Navy Federal where they had to go to court about redlining.
Yeah, there's probably been
years ago.
Yeah, there's probably been thousands of discrimination lawsuits against corporations, police departments, and all that shit since the 1970s. So yeah, the law said that civil rights was a thing, but people were doing everything they could not to adhere to it. I mean, businesses have been dropping all over the place with discrimination lawsuits and racism claims. So it was a step in the right direction though in the 1970s.
And then what did the president do? He come and removed all civil rights. You know what I'm saying? All civil rights cases got thrown out from the Department of Justice. All of the consent decrees.
Why do you think
from the police?
That's a good point. Why do you think Trump would get rid of everything from affirmative action? He's talking about DEI. He's even talking about potentially getting rid of Juneteenth. Why do you think he would do that?
I believe from his perspective, he's cleaning up the dirty work. Like from progress, like he doesn't want to see progress. He wants to see us kind of go back to a time just like when he grew up with his father, and his father was a known Klansman, and he learned because he stayed by it. Well, he didn't stay by his father's side. He says that, but he was the only one of his kids that got kicked out and got sent to military school because they couldn't deal with him.
But I always bring this up, sometimes against the grandma when she's going off on me, but there's a lot of black MAGA, didn't Cal? If what you're saying is true, why the hell so many people vote for Trump that are black? I'm going to push back on you. There is not a lot of black MAGA. There's a lot of black MAGA in your sphere, the people you deal with. No, there is a... Go ahead.
In terms of the amount, it's probably a couple million in the country. But you because remember, we only 13% of the population. Then you break that down into black men that actually vote, and the number is so small, and then you break down the ones that actually vote into black MAGA, and it's really probably a couple of million in the country, but they're so loud and they're so vociferous, it makes it seem like there's a whole bunch of them, when it's really not. Well, they're really loud on social media because they make a lot of money on social media. So they're attracted. A lot of them people that's on here some of them ain't even really MAGA. They just make a lot of money off the shit.
Well, I will just say this. While you were speaking on this subject, I Googled what percentage of black males voted for Trump, and AI. Now, AI is getting this from a collection of polls, New York Times, Newsweek, AP. They have here that recent survey and exit polls from the 2024 election indicate Donald Trump received support from a notable portion of black male voters, although the majority still favored the Democratic candidate. They got 24% of black males. That's like more than 1 in every 5. That's a lot. More. Now, obviously, you are correct. A lot of people didn't vote at all, so you can't say who they supported because they didn't vote. But if 1 in every 5 black male voters voted for Trump, you don't see that as significant?
No, I'm not saying that it's not significant, but if you look at it at the big picture, like black men have to be one of the smallest voting blocks in the country.
Yeah, I'm not denying that, but he won the male Hispanic vote outright. He got more male Hispanic voters than Kamala Harris.
Well, you have to separate. You have to separate the African Americans and the Hispanic. They got two different mindsets. They think two totally different ways.
Yeah, I get that. I get all of that, but when I say it doesn't matter how small the black population is. And you're right, it's about 13%, and I don't know what percentage of us don't vote at all. That's probably a pretty big fucking percent too. But the fact is, 24% is almost actually closer to 1 out of every 4. But 1 out of every 5 African American male voters voted for Trump. Even though we represent a small number out of all of the voters collectively, that's a big number for our population in itself. You don't see that?
Oh yes, I'm not saying that it's not a lot, but I'm saying in relation.
Okay.
I'm saying in relation to the overall number. Yes, 20%, 24% is a lot. But then you think on the opposite side, that means the 76% voted against him. So yeah, we can say, yeah, that's a lot. But then when you look at the overall African American numbers, what was the number? 12%? 14% total?
Because the sisters didn't show them no love. It was just us Negroes.
Right.
But let me ask you this
understand.
then.
I'll just say this one thing about the African American men. A lot of African American men, especially the youth, they feel disenfranchised, and they are just unhappy with government. Period. And when you send him up against a black female, which there's a lot of animosity between black women and black men, the education gap, the black women saying they don't need the black man. It's a lot of stuff that goes into the disenfranchisement of young black men.
So black men are so upset with Sister Soldier that they go vote for Mr. Drummond? Is that bad?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jesus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They got to look these black women in the face. They don't want them people and them women in their life talking about, yeah, you finally you gonna listen to this black woman now. I told you, smart black woman. They don't want to hear that shit.
She's not gonna throw you in prison. She's not going to take your citizenship away. This broad ain't going to do all that to you.
Black men was never thinking about that in the first place. They wasn't thinking about getting their citizenship. They know that's a Hispanic thing. They wasn't thinking about this stuff.
So perhaps instead of the black community talking so much shit about Trump, maybe they should reflect that back at other black men.
Yes, and I do. I know you like to go listen to them on the thing, on the lives and listen to them spill all of that bullshit. I seen you early on the live. The guy's up there talking about some. He done read the damn chain of command for the damn National Guard out loud. The president delegated it. Can delegate it to the. He done said it, and then they saying, why is you talking about he had to ask Nancy Pelosi? He didn't have to ask her shit. That's not how it works.
I still don't understand why they keep suggesting that Trump could not do anything with the... I still don't understand why they said he could not do anything with the National Guard on January 6th when he's doing every damn thing he want with them now. I got to move it on, Dick Cal. I didn't know you were in there.
Hey, and the last quick thing I wanted to say is I'm really proud of Jeremy, and I never thought I would say that, because some of this stuff that we've been saying for years, it seems like it's starting to permeate, and he's running out of excuses. So now when you have a conversation with him, he's still trying to defend the stuff about COVID, but then in the same sentence, he was like, yeah, it was handled terribly. But then he'll be like, well, yeah, maybe he could have did. It was handled fucking terribly. A lot of people lost their lives because of the hemming and hawing and all of that. He talking about who should have shut down and whatever thing. Trust me, I was in charge of the engineering department, and I was in charge of ordering those damn freezer trucks to put bodies in.
Ooh.
I don't want to hear no shit about that. Talking about, well, you gonna just lose your job and you making all that damn money. Nobody gives a fuck if you dead.
That's a good point.
All of that.
I was working.
It's not that easy to find another job if you're making a whole lot of money. Well, then shut the fuck up and get the shot. I ain't never heard nobody say, in the middle of all of these 3,000 people a day in America dying, we got to make sure the economy stay running.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, that was actually happening. There were people saying that, about...
And they talking about, well, the kids, we shouldn't have kept the kids out of school. So, okay, the teachers got to go to school. And guess where them kids go when they get out of school? Back home to the elderly people who grandmamas that's taking care of their ass.
Yeah,
They're not making no damn sense.
and that happens.
But you tell them
That happens
hey,
now. A lot of children bring home colds and illnesses to their, you got a kid in daycare, so you don't want your shorty to bring home COVID. So, but I mean, I agree with that. But the way he feels about it is very popular. A lot of folks feel that things should not have been shut down, and you shouldn't have had to wear a mask, and you should have been allowed to go into the job site without any restrictions.
Yeah. And I'm proud of Stevie D too. I can't leave him out. He
Really?
in some areas he has been a little flexible, so I got to give him credit because there's some people on here that no matter what you say, they got an excuse.
Shout out to MAGA Reacts. Didn't count. I got to move it on. Shout out to MAGA Reacts.
All right.
All right. Moving on with the program. Tap the screen. Get the likes on up to about 25,000 THOU, if you will. You guys know how the program is ran. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Feel free to follow that Tim Liberals on Facebook if you do your boy solid, because that's going to be our next stream where we're going live. Cuomo and Democratic governors killed thousands of grandmas in nursing homes. Cuomo, well, he didn't do it specifically, but he played games with the numbers and things like that. So I'm not going to defend Governor Cuomo of New York in any way, fashion, or form. But when you say Democrat governors killed, that part right there is where you're going off the deep end with it. I mean, the Democrat governors trust. We're trusting the science. They just took the advice of the medical personnel, namely Dr. Fauci. I mean, if you listen, I always use the 747 going down example where everybody's sitting on a plane and the plane goes into a steep dive because the pilots are ill or unconscious or something worse. And some dude stands up and says, I am a pilot. I don't fly 747s. I fly Cessnas. Okay, well, if he's not he hasn't been trained on this aircraft, but right now he's the best we have. Does he know everything about a 747? No, but he does know about aeronautics and things like that. He knows about the science of aircraft. If nobody else is a pilot, I think he's the best choice. To me, that guy standing up is Dr. Fauci. No, he doesn't know everything about COVID because it's new. He hasn't been trained on COVID, but in terms of viruses, he is the best choice on this aircraft going down. So I can understand why people would listen to him. Everybody else you got the garbage man standing up saying they don't know what he's doing. You got a janitor saying they don't know what the hell's going on. I'm going to go with the dude that is, at the very least, spent his life studying viruses. Even though he has no experience on this particular virus, just like the guy flying Cessnas, this is what he's been doing. He's a fucking pilot. Fauci is a virologist. So that's why I'm going to stand by any Democrat that said, I listen to Fauci. Not to mention, Trump had if the guy didn't know what he was talking about, Trump had no business putting him on TV every day. Maybe that would have helped also. Anyway, looking in the comments, 99.9% survival rate. Well, there's a lot of reasons that became so. First of all, in the beginning, they didn't, like, for instance, I think they learned that laying you on your stomach gave you a better chance of survival. They learned certain drugs that helped out. It wasn't a 99% survival rate in the beginning. So when you people were shutting things down and washing groceries and shit like that, it wasn't 99.9% survival. That came later. I ain't trying to hear shit with a civilian. You didn't serve. You guys talking amongst each other? Because my last caller was a veteran. 6 babies. What the hell? I got some kind of little thing bug flying on my screen here. 6. I missed the comment. Anyway, I'll go back to the box. I am disabled. What does that say? I'm disabled. I'm in a wheelchair. Don't let me be in a wheelchair into my intelligence. Huh? I am 31. I am disabled. I am in a wheelchair. Don't let me be in a wheelchair into my intelligence. I know what I'm saying. Multiple politicians don't give a shit about the disabled community. I mean, okay, I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about. But yeah, we want to give the House Secretary to Robert Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, with a brain parasite in his brain. Okay, I don't know where you're going with all of that, sir, on Instagram, but okay, fair enough. Anyway, looking in the comment, I still don't know what that meant. Let's get it, Mike. All right, let's do it. Going back to the box, the one and only Mike. Now, Mike, we were in a live earlier today where a Trump supporter living in rural Tennessee outside of Knoxville was trying to, well, he wasn't trying, he was saying back in 2019, he was able to take care of a family of 4. I believe he had a child that was 12 and another one that was 9, and a housewife off of a job making $10 an hour. He said he was taking care of a family of 4 of $10 an hour. I know you was in that life for a little while. Did you set him straight?
Man, listen. Well, eventually they kicked me. And Stevie D was in there. Eventually he kicked me because they didn't want to listen. Because other guys came on and started, Tim, whoever, Robbins, and Ocean. They started, you know what amazes me? But first of all, that was ridiculous. $10 an hour, $20,000 before taxes, and you say you can. You know what, Tim? Let me say something.
Well, but that's mainly because MAGA, and particularly Republicans in general, are self-reliant. So they have that mindset that no matter how bad things get, there is always a way. If you work hard, you don't need a handout. You should be able to find a way to do it. And that's what he was trying to say.
Yeah, and that's what they always say. But it's just so funny because first of all, I saw your ass in there, but then I was reading his background. That's what I really wanted to talk to him about liberals couldn't survive without conservatives, but conservatives.
Yeah, I should make that a topic tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a ludicrous. I don't know how long you were listening after you dropped, but
about a half hour. I listened for a little bit.
So you heard my arguments, right?
Yeah, but real quick, for folks who don't know what the hell we're talking about, this was another content creator who was MAGA. His live stream was titled that without conservatives, liberals could not survive, and he was indicating that the liberals don't know basic skills. So your mechanics, your heating and air conditioning guys, your welders, all of the things it take to make America great, I suppose. All of those type of civil servant jobs, I guess you'd call them, or factory type jobs. Those are predominantly conservatives doing all that stuff. So without conservatives, you would not have enough liberals to make the country function. That's what he was trying to say. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, and my argument was I'm taking off liberals and conservatives, and I'm talking about progression, right, and conservatism. And I'm not even going to dive into it because when I got into asking them details, they didn't want to listen to anything that I was saying. And then the other guys come up, and then you know how it goes. But the funny part about it is I noticed MAGA comes up and always talks about liberal tears, plantation, echo chamber. But when you go in their spaces, they're doing exactly the same shit. Yeah. Like they overtalk you, they mute you. You're liberal tears, and then when you ask them, like MAGA reacts, that's what I want to get into tonight. When you ask them to go fact check some stuff, they don't want to do it. They don't even want to take the time to fact check the video. I'm saying, like, where'd you get your information from? You know, just like we were talking last night about the National Guard. And MAGA reacts, and I stayed on his neck in the comments because he never wants to concede that Trump had the authority to activate the National Guard on January 6th.
I'm still getting, I posted some videos on YouTube about that. I did some shorts about the fact that Trump has only been in office now a little bit less than 8 months, and he's already deployed the National Guard 3 times, Los Angeles, DC, and at the border. And yeah, I said the same thing. Now that we've seen him do this 3 times, it shows that's definitive proof that he lied on January 6th. And I'm getting hammered by MAGA suggesting that he did not lie on January 6th and somehow it was still Nancy Pelosi's job. And I'm, for the life of me, like, what changed from then to now? Because he's doing it now and he ain't mentioning the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, at all. So why did he need the Speaker back then and he don't need him now?
Because he's a liar. And here's the thing about it. Now, let me give you an example. You can talk to MAGA right now, and they'll say, if you bring up racism, they say, well, Biden said racist things back, back earlier on about, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black or whatever. Mm-hmm. But they never bring up the shit that Trump has said, because Trump said, if I run for president, I'll run as a Republican because they'll believe anything. Yeah. But they never want to talk about that. They never talk about the pretzel salad that he uses all the time. This man said in April that crime had gone down in D.C. The mayor had done a good job. He took credit for that.
I could not find that video. I was looking for that. I could not find that video.
You can't find it? He literally said that back in April, and now he's saying it's a national emergency.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we talked about yesterday, is that the possibility that, okay, he said it was a national emergency at the border, which gave him all kinds of power. He said what was going on in Los Angeles during the riots was some kind of emergency. That gave him the right to send the National Guard in there now. And now he's doing the same thing in D.C. The whole conversation was, is it possible he could continue using it's an emergency as justification to do stuff?
100%, because he declares an emergency. He'll use the executive order. That's what he did with the Enemy Aliens Act. He deemed that an invasion. He deemed it an emergency, a national security, and he uses that to invoke these things and do the harm and cruelty that they're trying to do. It's not what I just said is not hyperbole. It's a fact. And the funny thing is when you hear MAGA, black or white, particularly white people, talking about crime in D.C., and then they start talking about black people, they always go back to our crime, but they can't give you a stat on their crime, ever. Don't you find that interesting, Tim?
That is a tad interesting.
They say 13% of the population and 50% of the crime, and I say, what is y'all numbers? How the fuck do you know so much about somebody else but don't know nothing about yourself?
Because that's not of interest. That's not the talking point.
Don't you find that a little fucking strange?
No, it meets an agenda. That's the same thing I ended yesterday's show with. Whereas Trump is saying that what he is doing is trying to fight crime, and you hear all the Republicans say, "Well, Democrats are for crime because they're going against D.C." And then when you ask, "Well, why is he skipping the cities that are the most violent for cities like Chicago and Los Angeles, but skipping over St. Louis and Memphis and things like that?" They don't have an answer for that. And the whole reality is it's not about solving crime. It's about sticking it to liberals. As long as you live in a Republican state, no matter what your crime rate is, he ain't going to do it. It's only going to happen in blue states. So as long as your governor is red, you don't have to ever worry about this happening.
Right. And that's the sad part because they got to see, and I didn't hear what Jeremy said earlier, by the way, but they got to see, if you're really looking, you got to see it. If you don't care, then you don't care. And that's what I was saying on that live earlier. Don't start throwing stats at me. When I told them 50 million jobs were created by Democratic administrations in the last 30 years and only 1 million.
It ain't. When I heard you telling that guy that earlier, I'm like, he ain't going to believe that shit. Because when you started out talking about Republicans creating 1 million jobs, I already knew where that was going. I'm like, this motherfucker is not going to believe anything he's about to say. Because it's so lopsided. I don't think you can show him any type of stats, any type of links or websites. He ain't no MAGA's going to believe that.
Well, then he said that now all of a sudden they don't trust the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now all of a sudden these motherfuckers can't even spell Bureau of Labor Statistics, and now you don't trust it because Trump told you not to trust it. I mean, listen,
you're not trying to say MAGA can't spell, though, are you?
Here's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that like the gentleman I talked today, don't want to learn. But they did you hear what I said to him because he was going down the 1350 route too. When they started going 13%, and I said, well, wait a minute. Where did you get those stats from? You had to do some research to find that shit, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, not really. If you got some right-winger telling you that as a talking point, that might be what you're hearing. It could just be a talking. And by the way, Dennis Calhoun says Dencal sent me the clip of Trump on DC crime. Oh, so when he's saying that Dencal sent me that clip where you're talking about where Trump was favoring the drop of crime in DC back in April. I haven't seen it yet, so I will have to check it out. Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah. You know what he does? He's bloviating, and then he takes responsibility of it. And then right now, he just said yesterday that this is Biden's economy. He said that shit again. This is still Biden's economy, and all this other nonsense. And they just eat that shit up like it's the gospel. But if you put some facts in front of them, they drop you or they run away. Or like MAGA reacts, his punk ass, he can't concede the point that he's wrong. He was wrong all day long. Nancy Pelosi had nothing to do with it. Have you ever read the J6 indictment, Tim?
I don't believe so.
Page 24. It's 174 page
Oh,
document. Page
no, I
24.
didn't. No, I definitely ain't read all that. I'm sure I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
millions. I've seen tons of excerpts from it, but I didn't read the whole damn thing.
I've read it multiple times. And that so when you hear people saying he didn't have time to activate the National Guard, all these excuses, they knew.
Oh yeah, I know he had like 4 hours. I know that everybody from Chris Christie to Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham was trying to call him. I know enough about it. Yeah, he didn't. He was deliberately ignoring them, sitting around watching it on TV. That's what came out in the January 6 hearings.
Yeah, but when you look at the January 6 hearings and you read the detail, they had been telling him and advising him that it was going to be violent. Advising him. Do you remember when they testified that
Steve Bannon said it's going to be wild. I mean, Steve Bannon told them it's going to be wild.
Well, when those supporters came down to the Stop the Steal rally, and some had weapons, and Trump was informed that they had weapons. You remember that?
Yeah, he said they're not here to hurt me. They're not here to hurt me.
They ain't here to hurt me. Let them in.
Yeah. Well, but you got to understand, MAGA does not, because that January 6 hearings committee was ran by Nancy Pelosi and Liz Cheney and folks. They don't trust anything that came out of it. So the minute Nancy Pelosi got anything to do with it, and I gotta defend MAGA just a tiny bit, even though I'm not disagreeing with the January 6 hearings committee. I'm just going to simply say, nobody on the left is going to believe anything that comes out of the Ghislaine Maxwell investigation. I mean, Trump done already put her up in a cushy, minimum security prison, and he's indicated that he's not close to even pardoning her. So ain't nothing she gonna say that the Democrats are gonna be like, yeah, okay, that's true. We're gonna doubt that from day one.
Yeah, but this is the difference. The Democrats in that, let me say the J6 House Committee had detail. They had emails. They had text messages. They had detail in their investigation. We're not going to see that detail from Trump.
No,
we're not, because all they do is we're not going to see any supporting evidence. Because has he ever?
Yeah.
Has he ever shown us proof? You say it all the time. This man said the election was stolen. He show us ain't seen shit. Every time he tells us they're going to go do something, they show us nothing. They don't prove anything.
He's in a very unique position where people favor Trump to the point where he doesn't really have to prove what he says. I mean, Obama wiretapped my office. That's good enough. Obama tried to steal the 2016 election. That's good enough. He's treasonous. I mean, he don't really have to prove stuff to MAGA. They're going to accept it. 2020 election. He's born in Kenya. He don't really have to prove any of that stuff. His word is good enough.
That shit is weird as fuck to me, because I don't see how you just accept the word of somebody constantly that you don't know personally. He hasn't done anything for you personally. You heard me tell the guy on his live today, he's in rural Tennessee. He's got a hospital, what do you say, 16 minutes from his home? I said, well, that one's going to be closing, my guy. But again, because of the big, beautiful bill, that one's going to be closing. So where's the next one? They don't understand when we say you're voting one way, just listening to the rhetoric and not doing any detail, and that's just going to hurt you. They don't want to hear that. And they're okay with Donald Trump's cruelty to black and brown folks and women. They're perfectly okay with it.
Why do you think that is? I mean, if what you're saying is true, if you're suggesting that MAGA is okay with cruelty to black and brown people and women, why do you think that is?
Because it's their history. If we want to be honest, the white American history is very brutal in this country now, isn't it? Their history is very brutal in this country. And if you've never gotten outside of your box, and your daddy and your granddaddy and your great granddaddy, like the guy today, they ain't seen nothing. So they still have the same ideology. They don't care. When they call black people savages, what they tend to forget is that the highest level of savagery in this country started with them. So to deem someone else savages by the cruelty that they have put on indigenous people and black and brown people over decades and hundreds of years, and then they just go get over it.
But I'm always often being told, certainly from the folks who say they have black fatigue, that it is in the culture of the black man to be violent and commit crimes. Sound like you're saying it's the other way around.
They don't pay attention to their own history. I literally just said that. They can tell, like I said, how can a person tell you so much about somebody else, but either doesn't own anything about their own culture or history, or they don't want to accept it. Because I'm going to ask you this question, Tim. This is a great question I want you to answer. What is white culture in America? What's white culture, Tim?
Well, the problem with white culture is you got to first define what white people are, because there's a lot of groups of people that are now considered white that were not at first. Like, for instance, Italians were not like when they first came to this country. They weren't considered in the white. They weren't considered a part of the in crowd. Polish were not considered white. I mean, Jewish are still not considered white by some people, and then others consider them white. So I don't know what the fuck a white person is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Greeks were not originally considered white. Now they are. I mean, so I guess you would say Europeans, but there's a huge difference between somebody from Czechoslovakia versus somebody from Spain. So I don't know what actually being a white person is, other than you got a lack of melanin. That's about the only thing I can see that would really group everybody together, is your melanin level is lower.
Right. I mean, because listen, this is what drives me crazy. They don't want to accept their colonization and appropriation of everything: music, food, all other cultures. Right. I mean, country western music, man, they just took that shit from us, didn't they?
Well, then how about saying this based on what you're saying? When you ask what is white culture, domination.
If it's by colonizing, cruelty, savagery, and stealing, which was my point earlier. Now, you're not going to dominate, Mike. You're not going to dominate any other way. The people are not just going to bow down and let you dominate. So the only way you're going to be a dominant culture is probably by doing it by force, which includes violence, cruelty, and oppression, and all the other stuff you're talking about. But that is probably the best thing I can suggest that is part of white culture. They've been really good at dominating worldwide. And again, if that's the case, to just accept the history of it then. But they don't even want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about how they dominated. They don't want to talk about the cruelty of it. A lot don't even want to have the conversation. You understand what I'm saying, Tim? But they want to tell every other culture about all the bad things about every culture. It's like they can, Hispanic men and they're poisoning the blood and black crime, and then they start talking about black fatigue, and I'm like, well, tell me something about you.
How about this one? I got one for you. Now, this just came in from a viewer. We get some controversial statements. I'm gonna read this shit and let you have the floor. In the comments, Ruth Ray says, "Oh, Tim, what about IQ difference? That also sets us apart." Holla at me.
Yeah, see, and that's what I'm saying. But it doesn't, because this whole system was set up to favor white folk from the very beginning. Let me use it this way. I'm gonna give you this analogy. Did you play sports in school?
Somewhat, not much, but somewhat. Okay.
So if somebody's running a 400-meter hurdle and somebody's running a 400-meter, the odds are that the person that's running the 400 meters is going to have a better time than the person that has the hurdles. Right?
Yeah, that is true.
Why? Because those people have to jump over hurdles. Yeah. But in this country, those hurdles were redlining. Those hurdles were Jim Crow. Those hurdles were civil rights. Those hurdles were mass incarceration. Those hurdles were the Ronald Reagan era with all the booger sugar put in our communities. And we still have to jump these hurdles, but they never recognize these hurdles. They don't even speak to them. So when they bring up IQ, as if somehow we're inferior, we have succeeded despite those hurdles. But then what they want to do is put other hurdles on the track and then be mad if we even finish. How about leaving us the fuck alone? Because here's the thing. In this country, if they say, go back to your country, all these black, brown people, women go back to their countries. Okay, let us take all of our culture and everything that we brought to this country with us. All of our inventions, all of our patents, all of our culture, all of our innovations, everything we contribute. Let us take the things that you pulled away from our cultures, and let's see what's left. We're not inferior to anyone. The problem is, like right now, they're building white-only towns. Fine, go build your fucking white-only town. But what happens when minorities try to do the same thing?
That ain't gonna go.
They tell us.
That ain't gonna
but what do they tell us, Tim? What do they tell us? Anytime we try to establish something, HBCUs, we had to do it because y'all didn't want us in your colleges.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's Trump trying to do right now? He's trying to take the funding away from HBCUs. But then they go, you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Well, I would say to them, tell me a time in this country where they stood alone and pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. Welfare wasn't invented for us. Welfare wasn't for minorities. This goes back to the 1930s. You heard me talk about it earlier today.
Yeah, I heard you.
But they lay welfare on us. Y'all need to stop sitting around being lazy on welfare. Y'all the highest percentage on welfare.
Well, with the population only being like 13% black, I mean, obviously they would have to realize the majority of people in Idaho or Montana that's on welfare are not black people. Ain't nobody there that's black. I gotta move it on, though, Mike. But you do make a good point. I don't know why it's automatically assumed that the majority of people on welfare in this country are black. It's just too many places and states that don't really feature anybody black at all. I mean, if we represented the majority of people that were on welfare, then there would be states where virtually nobody's on welfare, like Vermont. How many black people live in Vermont or New Hampshire or Maine? I mean, ain't nobody black living there. So in other words, there's nobody receiving welfare there. I'll give you the last word. I do got to move on.
Yeah, for sure. And this is the thing. When we talk about it, when I talk about it on your panel or any panel, but particularly yours in the comments, I would say it's always race and it's race baiting. But I'll ask this question. I'll leave it at this. When you have to be a counterpuncher instead of being the aggressor, we're always having the counterpunch. Why can't we talk about the history as it was? They just want to paint this rosy picture like white folks good, black bad. Every reference of black in our culture, Black Friday, right? There's a list of them. They're all bad, right? White is pure, black is bad. Villains wear black, good people wear white, right? That has been a culture that has been established in this country for centuries. And until we want to have the hard conversation, it's going to stay where it is. And people will always say, well, why are you guys always bringing it up in black fatigue, as if somehow we haven't overcome, but they want to talk about it. But guess who brings all this shit back up for us to deal with? This Trump administration and the Heritage Foundation. They brought this shit all back to the surface.
All right. I got to move it on, but they're just simply trying to make America great again, Mike. Thanks for coming through. All right, appreciate it. And I see in the comments, someone was really pushing that IQ thing. What did somebody say back to the IQ thing? I will just say this. There's been plenty of studies to show that if given the same opportunities, there's no difference between IQ capabilities of black and white. Right? I mean, and my last caller, whether you agree or disagree with him, he is absolutely correct. There were significant hurdles put up in regards to blacks achieving a decent education in the United States. Most of American history, it's been easier to get an education in America as a white person than a black person. Certainly considering there's a whole lot of schools that wouldn't even let black people in them. So his analogy of running a race on flat surface versus one with hurdles is kind of spot on. I mean, so is the IQ of whites higher than blacks? Not if the opportunities are the same. I mean, you take an African American that grew up in a wealthy family and went through private school and all that. No, there's plenty of them that do just fine. So no, I don't buy it from that aspect. But yeah, when you look at the quality of schools in black neighborhoods versus the quality of schools in white neighborhoods, and I'm not just talking about from the aspect of badass kids. I'm talking about from an aspect of how much money, how much federal funding is allocated to black schools versus white schools, the quality of the textbooks, do they have computers or not? Yeah, it's a difference. And that's going to translate into better performing students in one versus the other. That's my take. If you disagree, fair enough. Real quick in the comments, though, this is deep. I meant to pass this one on to my last caller, but SGB says the only difference between Trump and Jim Jones, wow, is Trump will charge for the Kool-Aid. Gosh. The only difference between Trump and famed cult leader Jim Jones is that Trump will charge for the Kool-Aid. Wow. I believe it at that. Anyway, continuing on, tap the screen, get the likes on up to about 30,000. We can make that happen. The quality of the education as a whole, says Tina. Yeah, I mean, the fact is the quality of schools, teachers, materials, all of that. It's lower in inner city schools. It is lower. Cue up the music, Tim. What is the what is the music you're looking for? Tim, you also got to remember, this comes from Handsome Stinky Finger, says, Tim, you also got to remember, as us black people, we don't have the American Express. It's not going to work everywhere. We have the Discover card. And that sound like you're trying to slip in some white privilege there, Handsome Stinky Fingers. Do you guys really believe white privilege is a real thing? That's what it sounds like. Handsome Stinky Fingers is trying to stick in there or slip in there. Tap, tap, tap. Yes, appreciate that, Deborah Richards. Tap the screen. Certainly get the likes on up. Helps out the algorithm. Brings in more MAGA. MAGA still remains my preferred guest. I don't get a lot of MAGA callers, but MAGA are my preferred guests. If you happen to be watching on Instagram or TikTok, give your boy a follow. We don't block, ban, or censor. This is uncensored programming. Watching on YouTube, give your boy a sub. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. I say that over and over again because people, when you go on other programs, people try to dictate how you should talk, blocking you, muting the microphones. We don't do any of that. We have not had a moderator on this program, I think in 4 years, about 4 years. So this is uncensored. So show the program some love. Follow the damn page. Drop a sub. Going back to the box. What is MAGA? If you had to describe it to a foreigner or somebody that was totally ignorant of the concept, how would you describe what is MAGA? I mean, let's say, for instance, someone came here from a foreign country and they seen everybody wearing the hats. You've seen the phrase "Make America Great Again." Some hats say MAGA. Some hats say "Keep America Great." Whatever the hat may say. If somebody asks, "What does all of that mean?" Talking to a layman, how would you answer that question? That is what we're talking about today. Now, obviously, I played this earlier before we go to the next caller. There are people out there that have their own take of what "Make America Great Again" means. Now, I played Nancy before. I got another clip I want you to hear after her, but for folks who are just tuning in, she had a strong take on what "Make America Great Again" means. The
administration did not give sufficient evidence as to why the citizenship question should be there. So they kicked the can. And then the administration said, okay, we won't put it on there. And then the president injected himself into this. But this is about keeping, Make America, this hat, Make America White Again. They want to make sure that certain people are counted.
Now, she talking out of her ass. By way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you folks agree with her? I mean, do you think she's getting that one wrong? I mean, what the hell is she talking about? She's saying that it means make America or keep America white again. Now, this guy, yes or no in the comments, how many of you agree with her? If you agree with her, type yes. If you don't agree with her, you can put in there a hell no. But what do you think she's trying to say? Do you believe what she's saying has any accuracy at all? Look at Rome 2,000 years ago, says Gen X. Look at Africa today. So you're saying that Africa has not progressed, yet Rome has. Gen X, fuck around and find out. There's a couple things I'm going to throw in there in regards to comparing Rome to modern day Africa. First of all, Africa is not as uncivilized as people in the West like to make it sound. There are plenty of skyscrapers in technology in many big cities in Africa. Ghana has plenty of major functioning cities, internet, a lot of the technological freedoms we have here. They're in Ghana, they're in Nigeria, they're in Egypt. South Africa has been controlled by the white man for quite a while, but South Africa, you go down to Mogadishu and some of them cities, it's plenty of technology down in Africa. And by the way, there's this huge movement of African Americans leaving America and moving to African cities. You can look it up online, and many of them are saying, not all of them like it when they go there, but one of the things they are saying is it is far more developed than they were told coming from here. If you live in America and you watch TV here, you tend to remember the old commercials with Sally Struthers where you see the fucking Africans laying around with bloated bellies and flies landing on their faces. That ain't Africa. That ain't everywhere in Africa. There's plenty of places that are not like that. Just like you could look at a bustling part of America like Manhattan or downtown Chicago and totally forget that, decrepit Detroit and rural Pittsburgh and Gary, Indiana exists. You can show parts of anywhere that look good and look bad. There's some pretty shiny, ran down areas of America where everything's boarded up and all. I mean, there's plenty of that. So it just depends on how you show an area if you want to make it look good or you want to make it look decrepit. I mean, there are parts of America you can put on TV that look like third world countries. Some of those rural Mississippi towns where every building is vacant and the grass is growing up in the middle of the street and shit. I mean, there's plenty of that. So it depends on how you want to make that look. Real quick, looking in the comments, San Francisco has 430 skyscrapers. Meaning what? Meaning what? South Africa has the most skyscrapers with 54 in Egypt. Crime in the second with 48 skyscrapers. What are you talking about? Other countries with significant numbers include Nigeria. I mean, look, at the end of the day, there's good and bad. I can tell you for a fact, for instance, that there are African cities that do not have the crime rate of some American cities. So it depends on, life expectancy, healthcare. It depends on what you favor. There are things that are good about America and there's things that are bad about America. Material conditions. Says, I don't know what you're referring to on that, my D696. I don't know what you're trying to say there, but I want you guys to hear this. When we're talking about explaining Make America Great to the layman, these folks are wearing MAGA hats.
Al Gore and George Bush and people like Mitt Romney and these people, they're all the same. They're all the same type of candidates. So it's pretty interesting this year to see something a little bit different. So.
Now this is,
we support those nationalist principles like closing the borders and things of that nature. So we do support those things, but we're not going to come out and endorse them.
Donald Trump wants to bring back jobs to America, give dignity to the American worker.
It's not that Trump is telling these groups what to think. They have, had their own white supremacist ideology for many decades now. What Trump is doing is legitimizing.
I came here to speak on behalf of Donald Trump. I've never met the man, but I can tell that he has nothing but the best interest of this country at heart.
Some of the things that he's saying are issues that we've been tackling for years now. When we talk about globalism, we talk about America first, these sort of things, bringing back American jobs. These are things that he's hitting on. So it's put a lot of our nationalism sort of becoming mainstream.
All we want is to change America back to what it was.
We do want to see whites, rise and have our own state here in this country.
I do think.
The odd thing about it is he's doing that whole thing in a MAGA hat. I don't know. Wow. Now, remember the Democratic Party was a party of slavery, party of Jim Crow South and all that. This guy, so when people tell you that the Democrat Party is the party is racist, these dudes don't seem like they voted for Kamala Harris at all. I don't see any Democrat in their blood. He's literally giving that speech with a MAGA hat on. Wow. Anyway, tap the screen. We're talking about describing what Make America Great means to somebody who don't know what the hell it means. This looks like a play straight out of old racist playbook, one-on-one. I'm just asking questions. The right's version of the trans are people too extremist? I don't know. Continuing on with, and so Jackson, good evening, Jackson. Welcome to the program. How would you explain, if it brings them up, we'll give it a moment. Looks like the box is saying, okay, Jackson, are you there? Jackson, are you there? Apparently my caller is not there. We'll move it on to the next caller then. Continuing on there, Charles, good evening. Welcome to the program. a lot of European countries are going to Africa to steal from them. And that's a good point also, is that when you compare Rome to the nation of Africa, a lot of African labor was stolen for centuries. I mean, you take that much manpower off of a continent, it's going to have an effect. I mean, there's no way around it. If you take that much manpower for that long from I mean, think about all of the folks that are African American that live in this country, that have patents, that have invented things, athletes that have made a ton of money and brought entertainment to this country, musicians that have made a ton of money doing the same. All of that stuff would have been in Africa. All of them, let's take something like Michael Jackson Thriller. Think about how many white people enjoyed that song. They would have enjoyed it, but the money would have been going back to Africa. I mean, just think about how all of that talent would have been over there. All of his Never Never Land Ranch, all that shit would have been there. I mean, he would have been doing all of that there. I mean, think about all of that. So when you compare Rome to Africa, understand that Africa has lost a ton of labor that has made, let's say, for instance, this country great. Because all of that stuff they invented is now being used in this country. Everything from inventing the street light to peanut butter. All of that stuff has been here. That stuff would have been invented in Africa. And there would have been wealthy people roaming all around Africa. Not to mention all of the African Americans that invented shit and they had their inventions taken from them. So there's a whole lot of folks out there that are not African American. They got very wealthy off of inventions that they didn't create. All of that would have been in Africa. So that the theft of labor, the theft of manpower certainly has a lot to do with why Rome is doing so damn good. I'm gonna say, laughing my ass off. Peanut butter, nobody invents anything in Africa. I would just say this, and I can't respond to your answer with your statement with a definitive answer there. Whatever the name is there, I can't, Gorlin or something. It says Gorilla Nuts. Gorilla Nuts. He says, LOL, nobody invents anything in Africa. I'll just say this, even though I can't respond to your statement with a definitive answer, I would just Google inventions from Africa. And I guarantee there's plenty of people in Africa inventing things. I just can't cite anything, but if you Google inventions out of Africa, there's plenty of people in Africa that invented things. Going back to the box, we'll go to Gangsta. What, did I hit that? Oh, no, it's 10. What is the name there? Tina, I saw 10. Hang on a second. Before you start there, Tina, Handsome Sticky Finger says, MAGA ain't shit, Tim. Says, MAGA ain't shit, Tim. Also, that guy is or was on your TV. Is that George Lucas? Well, what the hell, that guy, that ain't George Lucas. That's the guy that turned Disney and Star Wars. No, I don't think that's George Lucas. Go ahead there, Tina. Good evening.
Good evening.
Explaining MAGA to somebody who don't know what the hell it means, what would you say?
The triple K without hoods.
Jesus Christ. You see it? You really see it that bad?
Yes, I do.
Based on what?
So if you know the history, like MAGA is repeated and recycled.
It's the legacy of this entire era of modern Trumpism. It's do as I say, not as I do. They want to talk about family values and being
Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead, say that again.
I said MAGA is not something that's new. It's recycled over and over. They just needed a slimy, snaky host person to make their agenda happen.
Are you trying to suggest that Trump is a slimy, sneaky person?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Why did you say that?
First, it was Reagan.
Okay.
But Reagan appointed a Democratic female Supreme Court judge, so that was out. That's out.
Okay.
So, and he said it. When they overturned Roe v. Wade, he goes, we waited 50 years. They are so patient with their agenda to make things happen.
Well, I got a viewer, Down Low 9 says, how is Trump bad? Because you're making him sound really bad. One of my viewers is asking.
Horrible.
In what way? How was he bad?
All right, so America is now being ethnic cleansed.
What?
I don't sugarcoat Tim.
No, I believe that, but
they're literally rounding up brown people and shipping them off, but yet he took in how many white South Africans.
59. It's only 59. Wait a minute. You're telling me
Okay,
deporting
fine.
illegal. You're telling me deporting illegal. Hold on, hang on.
You have a problem
You're
with
telling
59
me
kids?
you're telling me merely deporting illegal immigrants constitutes as ethnic cleansing?
Because I don't. Okay, so you're taking people from their jobs in immigration court. You're telling everybody that they're criminals. But do criminals go to court? Do they have jobs on the books and pay taxes like that? Like, most people who are on green card and they're coming in through immigration are not going to go out there and criminalize. They're not going to be on the books. They're not going to be easy to find.
Yeah, but ethnic cleansing, though, Tina? That's a really harsh term, ethnic cleansing.
I know.
I don't know. Ethnic cleansing usually.
It's okay if you don't agree. I don't ever think that we have to 100% agree.
And I'm trying, but I mean, when I think about Slobodan Milosevic or even what's going on in Gaza, people usually are dying when you're ethnic cleansing. You think Trump wants to really hurt people that bad?
Are they not sitting in like concentration camps that are in horrible? They're getting taken care of like crap.
Well, I'm not going to deny that alligator Alcatraz is not a great place to be.
And first they were sending them to Ecuador.
The El Salvador thing was terrible. I'll agree with that. But I don't see alligator Alcatraz as a concentration camp.
They're not sending them anywhere nice.
No, it's a deterrent. But I don't see alligator Alcatraz as you see it as a concentration camp?
Oh, yes. Most definitely.
Give me the comparison.
The similarities are insanely crazy.
Elaborate. How so?
So when you look at like Germany, okay, Auschwitz, they're housed all together, slammed together, and they're not taken care of properly. They don't have due process. They're not being like held with law. It's not. So,
but a concentration
so from my understanding, right? Wait. Follow me here. From my understanding, right? Obama and Biden were stronger with immigration. They deported a lot more, but they did it with due process. They didn't just round them up, and they didn't have mass people walking around being like, haha, let's go.
So I think Obama was strong on immigration. Biden was not. Biden was not strong on immigration.
But they still had due process. The law was still followed.
Well, the argument is coming from the right that if you came in the country illegally, you don't deserve due process. I know the Constitution has a different say on that, but the right does not believe you
what
deserve.
What is illegal?
Huh?
Which part is illegal? If they come over for asylum, they don't have to come in through a port of entry. They can walk in and say asylum, and they get a court date. That's not illegal. Yeah,
I mean, that's true, but that's where the difference is. The right, first of all, the right doesn't see asylum seekers as legal. They see them as illegal immigrants, which you're right, they're not. If you claim asylum, you're on record. You're not an illegal immigrant. Same thing with the TPS folks. Those folks are on record. But the right sees all of them as illegal immigrants because they never acknowledged Biden's right to let people in under asylum or TPS. So they viewed all of them as illegal. And in regards to due process, they also believe that if you're in the country illegally, you don't deserve due process either. So they do make it a little bit harsher for folks that are immigrating in the country.
They make a lot of things harsh.
But ethnic cleansing just sounds, that sounds wild.
I know, it sounds nasty.
Now, when I originally asked you to describe what MAGA was, you went into the definition of using the triple K. Do you see a legitimate reason to vote for Trump that has nothing to do with racism? You do understand there could be reasons to vote for the guy, and people that voted for him are not racist, right? You don't think all Trump supporters are racist, do you?
So I don't think that all Trump supporters are racist, but when you support a racist, you are who you associate with.
Give me
morally, I would never vote for that man.
Give me 2 reasons why you would suggest that this man is racist. 2 reasons. Just give me 2.
Why I would suggest he is?
You said he's a racist. I mean, give me 2 reasons why you would say Trump is a racist.
He literally talked to the Proud Boys on national television and said, "Hold on, stand by, like you'll have your time."
Well, he did say stand back and stand by, but that means just because you talk to the Proud Boys, that makes you racist?
You associate with them, right? I mean, you're talking to them on national television, means you associate with them. You know them pretty well. So you're talking to them on national television.
Yeah, he did talk to him. There's no denying he talked to him. I can't argue it. Give me another one.
Oh, Lord. Let's see.
I mean, you said the guy's racist. That's pretty strong.
I have an entire list in my phone.
Damn, really? Really? Wow.
I mentioned that he's a sexual offender. He's a predator.
That don't mean you're racist, though.
Yeah. Okay. So he's racist, though. Oh my God. I don't even know how to explain it right now.
I see somebody said your list is going to come. Oh, I can't wait to hear her list straight from CNN. Oh my God. I'm just curious to hear what you got, though. I mean, if you're saying a guy's racist, that's a strong statement. I'm curious to hear what you got.
Okay, so when he overturned Roe v. Wade, do you know what they thanked him for?
When he overturned Roe v. Wade,
I can't remember who she was, but she got up on stage and she's like, "Thank you, Trump, for overturning Roe v. Wade. Thank you for." Hold on. Oh, it is in my TikTok.
You realize there's a lot of people of all color that are pro-life, and it might be happy that Trump.
No, thank you for white life. Thank you for white life, she said. She said, "Thank you for white life." Okay, I can understand being pro-life and like you don't want any babies to die, but you're thanking him for white life.
But that don't mean Trump is racist just because some lady said that, though.
Does he not back up that agenda?
Wait, say that again?
I said, does he not back up the agenda?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you that. I'm trying to get you to clear that up.
He's got it too. Central. Let's talk about Central Park 5.
Yeah, I mean, listen. He stated that those 5 individuals deserve to be hung or whatever.
He put a hunt on their head.
Yeah, but just because he called for these folks who at the time had confessed to basically raping and killing somebody, and he was, being angry about crime, that don't make him a racist, though, do it? I mean, how do we know he wouldn't have said the same thing if they were white?
For real.
I'm just asking. I mean, you're talking about 5
His best friend was a white man and a pedophile, but like, I don't know. He didn't
Well, let me be clear. Pedophilia is sick, and you need to pay the price if you're doing something like that. But that don't mean you're a racist. I mean, you might be white, and you might be abusing black kids. I mean, that doesn't mean you. Just simply pedophilia doesn't denote racism.
I just feel like his agenda that he backs up is very much about making America white again. I have felt that way for a really long time. Give me an example. I don't see any of his policies helping any of anyone else other than really white men. Because they want to take voting away from women, no matter what color you are, if you're married. They want white men to be in power. White men are losing power. It's getting too diverse around here.
Okay, when you say they want to take voting away from women, what has Trump said to make you believe that? I mean, give me an example of something Trump has said to indicate he wants to take the power of voting away from women.
If your ID does not match your birth certificate, which is your maiden name, and if you are married, they do not match, then you do not get to vote as a woman. Because men don't change their names.
Yeah.
We take a man's name.
But I mean, I don't know if that's taken. I get the complication that it can cause, but I don't know if that's taken because there's going to be plenty of women that IDs do match their birth certificates, and they'll be able to vote. So you're not taking.
They would be able to vote under that bill, but that would wipe out how many voters in America?
There has to be a way.
They're very patient and move calculated. They don't move without a cause or a reason.
So you do see Trump is on the path of doing some sinister shit then.
Oh, absolutely.
So can you explain why, if you're suggesting he's going to take away the right of women to vote for him, you do realize he actually won the women's vote. More women voted for him than Kamala Harris, who is a woman herself. Why do you think that is?
Unfortunately, that's sad to hear because they voted against their own selves and like having freedom for themselves. And a lot of them are probably women of MAGA men who don't really understand how it's going to affect them until it affects them. Because that's how they move. They don't care if it happens to other people. They don't care if it takes from other people as long as you don't take it from them.
Wow. Do you see, based on what you're saying, them being women of MAGA men and not knowing, and voting against their own best interests, do you see possibly MAGA women as being less educated than liberal women or something like that? Travelman, yeah. Appreciate the added mustache. Thank you.
I think that a lot of MAGA women come from women who were taught that they need a husband and such to live and survive, and that's how you're supposed to have your happy life.
Wow.
And when you are Christian nationalism, like he's backed by Christian nationalism big time, and within Christian nationalism, women they submit to their husbands, like what their husband says goes. So if husband tells you that you need to go vote MAGA,
you go vote MAGA.
You go, yeah.
All right, and there is some truth to that. I'll leave it there. I do got to move it on, but before I do, one of my viewers actually posted this as a question, so I got to ask me two questions. Do you have blue hair and a girlfriend? So he's asking.
Nope, I do not have blue hair. I'm a natural ginger, and I'm single, no boyfriend or girlfriend.
All right, Tina, come on back anytime.
Just because, like, I have a free mind does not mean that, like, I don't know, I belong in SLC Punk or something. Like, I actually work in the healthcare insurance business. I've worked with Medicaid. I know a lot about, like, when people are like, oh, illegals are on Medicaid. No, they're not. No DACA, no nada.
Wow. Nothing but love for my natural genders. Good talking to you, Tina. Come on back anytime.
You too.
Pleasure. All right, moving on with the program. Tap the screen, by the way. Get the likes on up to about 55,000. I think where we at? 40-something? You guys can help the program out. Yeah, give me on up to 55,000. Tap the damn screen. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. My wife does not vote, somebody said. Wow. No boyfriend. Gee, I wonder why. What are you trying to indicate, Gen X? What are you trying to indicate? Ask her about Social Security fraud. I just seen your comment. You're kind of late. Okay. She's a lovely cat woman. Why are you guys so cruel to my guests? Tap the damn screen. Smash the like button. If you're watching on YouTube, give your boy a sub. This is uncensored free speech program, and we don't give a damn what your political affiliation is. You deserve the right to speak. We'll protect that as far as we can. We go left of Bernie Sanders to having dinner with Q. Follow the program if you're watching on YouTube. I mean, better yet, on TikTok or Instagram. Give your boy a sub if you're watching on YouTube. Tell Gen X to get off the oxygen. Oh, my God. Who said that? Ooh, you guys are mean tonight. Freedom Fighter says, tell Gen X to get off the oxygen. By the way, before I go to my next caller, there was a woman... because this is in line with being on oxygen, so some of you guys may have seen it because it went really viral. There was a heavy-set woman, a plus-size woman, that had oxygen, and she posted, when they had this, I should have known better, off of the, what is the girl's name? Until You Hate Me. I cannot think of the girl's name, not Charlie XCS, whatever the rapper name that did the video. But anyway, people were doing a TikTok trend, and she had a post above her talking about how she supports ICE deporting people. And this was earlier on in the game when ICE was even more unpopular than they are now. And ICE is still very unpopular. But this person was, praising ICE. And, she's on screen, jamming to the song and indicating she's so happy at the work of ICE. And she got this oxygen, cord coming out of her nose. So people started making all these videos about her where they were cutting the oxygen cord. When he said, tell Gen X to get off the oxygen, it made me think about this. Some of you folks may have seen it because she went viral. In fact, if you just simply go to TikTok and search and type in oxygen girl, you'll get the whole story. She became that viral. She had to take her profile down. It got to her employment. I mean, she became hated. People were doing artwork, making her look nasty and ugly. Oxygen tank girl or oxygen girl. Anyway, going back, somebody got her name in there. Matilda, that's her name? Yeah, that was her name. Let me go back to the box. So you got to be careful about what you do on the internet because it definitely can come back to bite you. The one and only Gangsta Grandma. Good evening, Gangsta.
That protein's just dripping from your mouth, isn't it? And tell Gen X with this fat, fucking ugly, white tee looking ass. He's talking about her. We need a carjack to get his stomach up to see his little ding-a-ling. We can't even call it a ding-a-ling. Okay? It's a Vienna sausage, uncooked, with salmonella.
Okay.
Tell him to shut the fuck up.
So you're obviously no fan of Gen X.
No. Don't ever come out a woman that was talking the truth. He's big mad, isn't he, with his little teeny-weeny energy looking fat fucking ass.
Oh, my Lord. Speaking of that, has anybody seen the South Park? Has anybody seen the South Park episode, speaking of teeny-weeny with Trump doing the nude scene?
Yeah. He has a teeny-weeny. He's a small dick energy, you fucking twit. What the fuck?
I'm not going to comment on another.
You know what? I'm so sick of you dripping that uncooked protein out your mouth. They are trying to make the shit white again. It never was white.
Give me.
The colonizer.
I'm going to ask you to do the same when I asked my last guest. What's making you think that Trump is somehow, some way trying to make the damn country white again? What's making you say that?
Really?
Really?
Really, Tim?
Really?
He's dripping, aren't they? Why do you think he's getting the black and brown people out of the United States? Why?
Because they're here illegally.
He even tried to take the indigenous people out of the United States.
He's trying to
He was on the Navajo reservation trying to get them out.
He's trying to get them out, Gangsta Grandma, because they're here illegally.
Dipshit. Indigenous people are not here illegally. Dum-dum.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? He's not trying to get indigenous.
ICE went on the reservation and tried to get him off. What the fuck are you talking about?
He went on. Okay, ICE went on the reservation and tried to.
Yeah.
And where are they going to put him?
Really?
Yeah, I'm asking.
Really? Yeah, he wants to ship us everywhere.
You believe that Trump wants to deport Native Americans?
He don't want none of us here. He don't like natives. He don't like black people. He sure don't like brown people. And you know what the fucked up part about the shit is? Gen X and all the little $15 dishwashing ass motherfuckers, the ones that to wash toilets and shit, voted for his sorry ass. And they're the ones that's gonna get the fuck the most without a condom.
I don't know. I think you might be going a bit overboard.
Really, Tim? Yeah. You like to be bent over, don't you?
What the hell? What?
You like to be bent over, don't you, Tim? Because you just love taking this side. See, you try to come at me. Have the same balls that go against a white man. I bet you won't.
If I hear somebody, if I hear a,
no, you don't.
You don't hear. Wait, hold on.
You're a straight ass punk when you go on those fucking lies. A straight ass fucking punk. I got more balls than you, and I got a coochie.
Coochie.
I'm more masculine than you.
I think
I would hit a bitch. You're like, oh no, don't do that. I would knock a man out. I'll break his damn jaw.
Gangsta, and I see in the comments, Handsome Sticky Finger says, Tim, Gangsta Grandma is right. Look at his administration, his cabinet staff, they're all white, duh, damn. Okay, listen to Gangsta Grandma. Well, I'm listening to Gangsta Grandma, but I'm trying to get clarity. You're saying Trump wants to make America white again. What has he done to make you say that? Same question.
Tim, are you fucking shitting me?
I'm asking.
Are you putting bleach on your skin or something? Are you drinking fucking bleach? Are you so much into that shit? You really don't think this motherfucker's not trying to do that?
I'm asking you to give me some examples of what's making you say that. That's what I'm asking.
He's kicking people the fuck out, okay? He's taking people off of Medicaid, taking people off of food stamps. Now, they already do work. They already do work for Medicaid. Obamacare. He hates Obama so much for being black, he's even trying to rip that shit up into pieces.
Now, what makes you suggest that he hates Obama for being black? What's making you say that?
Are you fucking shit?
No, I'm asking.
Can I just go through the... I will, if I was there, I would pimp slap your ass.
Why you gotta be so violent?
Because you know the stupid white tea cracker ass motherfucker was over there saying, where's his birth certificate? He was born in Kenya.
You do realize, Gangsta Grandma, some of the terms you're saying, people would suggest you're racist and you hate white people.
They kiss my black ass too, can't they?
But let's be fair. We would be very... hold on, hang on.
No,
hold on.
I am not being fair to the racists. Fuck you and fuck them then.
Well, what the point I'm making is, you know damn well you would go ape shit if a white person was saying about blacks what you're saying about whites. How are you any better?
What are you talking about, fools?
I'm hearing...
They're doing it to us.
I'm hearing...
They're trying to kick us out of our country. They told Obama to find his birth certificate. Go to Kenya. He's not even fucking American. Y'all think that was racist? The Central Five. Y'all think that was fucking racist? Oh, they're only sending N-words and rapists over the border. Really, Tim?
But I don't
think that was racist?
But
you motherfucking white tea man can't even go pick cotton. You know why? Because they're too stupid to bend over.
But when you use...
They're not even educated to go pick cotton. They're not educated to go pick fruit, other things. Because you know why? They don't even know what labor is. You know why? Because they're the ones that are on food stamps. They're the ones on welfare. That system was made for them.
But when you use...
With the uncooked looking ass and their fucking interbred fucking shit. They mamas and they cousins.
But when you're using terms in conjunction with the white man like crackers...
I don't give a fuck.
They
are. Well, actually, I like crackers. What can I call them? What can I call them? Burnt mayonnaise? I can't stand mayonnaise.
What the hell?
Burnt mayonnaise?
Who cooks mayonnaise? What do you mean burnt mayonnaise? Who cooks mayonnaise?
They mayonnaise, they spoiled. They fucking give us fucking jeebie-heebies. Now you better looking at them. They give us salmonella. You never seen a white man dang-a-lang, huh?
No.
You never seen that, huh? Oh, hell no.
I've watched a few films.
They had no color on it.
I've watched a few.
No color.
I've watched a few films with Randy West and Peter North. I've seen a few.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I can't. I cannot.
Why are you
my drunk this night? What? If I was even drunk and high together, and a white man I couldn't do it. I was straight fucking lesbian.
Why are you being so hateful?
Why? Why are they so hateful towards us?
And I don't
Why do they want to make America white? Why are they taking Black history out of our schools? Why do they want us? Why? Why, huh?
Well, let me respond.
I'm giving them the same fucking damn energy.
Well, speaking of energy, you're going to have some energy for this one. Gen X said this crazy idiot is whiter than Sydney Sweeney.
Tell him to kiss my mama's black ass. How about that?
Your mama's ass.
If my mom is darker than you. My dad is darker than you. And Gen X, the racist piece of overweight shit that he could go eat one more Big Mac and he'll die.
Jesus Christ.
I hope he does.
Whoa. I don't know if you can get that close to death where one sandwich would take you out. Coochie says handsome sticky fingers.
With his oxygen ass, someone should want a lot of match. Boom. I believe
you. I believe you.
I really don't. The maggots make me physically sick. The white women that voted for this shit, you make me physically sick. The men and everybody that voted for this shit, you make me physically sick.
What about women that thought...
vomit on them.
What about...
Because the hell that they're putting us through.
Okay, when you say they make you physically sick, what about the notion that folks believe that it is Biden's fault for not stepping down and trying to run and not protecting the border?
You know what, Biden? You know what? Let me tell you something. Everybody wants to blame Biden. Biden. Shut the fuck up on Biden. Shut the fuck up on Biden. The reason why this mofo is in office is because of racism. This is one hell of expensive racism. The white women, the white men that voted for this shit, even the far leftist white people voted for this shit, was racism.
Is it possible, remotely possible, that the reason Trump is in office is because Biden did a piss poor job securing the border? Do you see any possibility of that?
About piss poor job about Biden. Let me tell you something. Biden took out more illegals than Obama and the little orange Jesus. Yeah, go look it up.
Where have you heard that from?
Go look it up.
Where are you looking that up at? Where am I going to find that?
Google's free. But see, he didn't do it how he's doing it now. He didn't do it like that. They gave him everything they're supposed to, the right stuff. Go in front of the judge and get him out. That's how he did it. He didn't do it humanely. He did not do it like that. He didn't put him in concentration camp. He didn't do that way. He didn't treat them like they was garbage and not human.
Why does everybody on the left refer to Alligator Alcatraz as a concentration camp? Someone would suggest that that's an insult to Jewish people who actually was in real concentration camps.
Let me tell you something about Jewish people. Right now, I'm not a good fan about the Jews anyways. Because look what they're doing over there with the Pakistan.
That ain't the Jewish people. That ain't the Jewish. Hold on. That is not the Jewish people. That is Benjamin Netanyahu. A lot of Israelis don't even like what he's doing.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying them. Some of them are. But let me tell you this. This is a new age. I'm not saying what they back in the day. This is a new age. This is 2025. This ain't Schmittler time.
So what are you saying?
This is a new age.
So what are you saying?
This is a new age of Schmittler. He's trying to be a Schmittler.
He's so
trying to be.
You're comparing Trump to Adolf?
You are a type of fucking liberal, the yes master, and choking on his shit, okay?
You're comparing...
You know his friend, Gen X, your so-called hubby? Oh, yeah, I'll take you to the barbecue. He's the one who will fucking put you in a tree before somebody else would.
You know they haven't been putting black people in trees in decades.
Oh, well, honey, no. There's stories. That shit's been happening. There's stories. Yep. Somebody was, on a tree. Back south somewhere. I forgot what town. Yep, so don't go there.
What? I just don't understand why you think MAGA is this hateful. I mean, there's a lot of MAGA I talk to every day.
Are you fucking serious, Tim? Are you fucking serious?
I'm just asking a question.
You just did a clip of the Schmidlers right there with a MAGA hat on.
There's some.
And let me tell you something, white people, white maggots. You do know you fucking got black in, you stupid fucks. Everybody in the United States, if you're born in the United States, Riri's, you have some kind of African in you because of slavery. You dip fucks.
Is that true?
Thank you. That's amazing.
Is that so? Yep. You're saying if you're white and you're born in America, you have some black in your DNA.
Everybody. There isn't no pure race in the United States. Because of slavery. I mean, come on, Tim. I mean, did you go to school or did you get dropped on your coconut head?
I didn't know
Did
that.
you?
I didn't know that. I honestly did not know
You really
that.
did not know that nobody from the United States is fucking pure. There ain't no pure white or pure black. Everybody got some kind of shit in them because the white team man came over and brought some, people over and liked the chocolate coochie and did the damn thing. And liked the Mexican coochie and like native coochie and got them all fucking mixed up.
I don't know, Gangsta Grandma. I got a lot of folks in my comments that are saying that's not true.
Well, you know what? They're fucking idiots. Because everybody is mixed in the United States. Somehow, somewhere, because of fucking slavery.
Every white person born in America has black in their DNA.
I'm saying everybody. Everybody. If you're born in the United States, you're not pure. You got something. And unfortunately, I got me some drop of white in me somehow too. Unfortunately, I wish I didn't have it, but hell, we was in slavery.
Why do you wish you didn't have it?
that shit in me.
Why do you wish you didn't have it?
Because I would never want to be a colonizer.
You don't think
I would never want to be.
You don't view all whites as colonizers though, do you?
No.
Okay. Then.
I'm not. The ancestors are. Yes, all of them.
That's
the
not
ancestors
true.
are all
That's
white
not
people.
true.
The ancestors are.
That's not
yes,
true.
Yes, there is.
No, it's not.
All white people, the ancestors are fucked up. But there is some good white people that recognize what their ancestors did, and they are allies.
Gangsta grandma, just like they're
okay.
This
ass. You don't want to know. You don't want to hear fucking real history. Then shut the fuck up and don't even talk about it then, because it is true.
You're not
white
accurate.
People,
you're bashing the white man so bad. You're not accurate. Just like there are good white people today.
What are you talking about? White people.
Let me explain it to you.
From the United States, yes, they were ancestors. Fucked us over. I'm not saying them today.
If you let me explain it to you without you downing me. Here's the point I'm making. Okay, hear me out.
I cannot.
Hear me out. Just like there are.
That's why you're single.
Just like there are, as you say, good white people today, there were good white people during slavery in the days of colonization that did not agree with slavery then too. They're not all colonizers.
Okay, look, Tim, listen to what the fuck you just said. They did not agree, but their ancestors still did it.
Not all of them.
What the fuck do you comprehend? I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying, listen to what the fuck I just said. Ancestors, the white king ancestors, the colonizers, yes, they're fucked up. But there are some good ones that did not agree with it, and they are allies.
And how do you respond to the ever pressing comeback that many black people sold their own into slavery as well? How do you respond to that?
That was in Africa. Okay. And
all right.
There's the rich people. And what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I gotta move it on. I'll leave it at that.
No, let me tell you something.
Real quick, I'll let you close it.
Some of the Africans, yes, did that. Because they was rich. And they was fucking dum-dums. Okay? I don't agree with that shit. But they did it. Right. And they sold them. Okay? And they still, to this day, they still did it. Okay? All right. Well, what the fuck do you want? Do you want a fucking cookie?
All right.
But the colonizers brought all the damn people over here and fucked them. That's why we got interbred. That's why we got mixed. Why do you think they got called Creoles? Why do you think that? They got mixed babies and sent them back to France. Because why? Why is that? Why is that, Tim? You don't know about that, neither, from Louisiana?
I do know about that.
You don't know about that?
Yes, I do.
So please, shut the fuck up about having there's not no pure. There ain't nothing pure no more. They shipped the damn mixed babies back to France.
All right. Gangster grandma.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I gotta go. I'll leave it at that. Thank you. All right. I got a hammer. Okay. Did you agree with her? How many people agree with her? How many? Listen, if she's right, she's right. How many of your folks agree with what she's saying? She's pretty hard on people of the Caucasian persuasion. She's really, really hard. I see a lot of folks in the comments already saying nope. She's pretty hard. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll let you folks respond. They couldn't get in Korea or Japan, but they tried. I see that, Chris. White and Proud. White and Proud says, is that, I don't know what that name says. Tommy Brown Jr. says White and Proud. Okay. Now I'm sure it's true in some cases, but not all, man. Gotta tell you, she was burned. She was burned. I don't know, burnt mayonnaise. I don't know what to do with that. Anyway, tap the screen. We'll continue moving on. When I say we don't block, ban, or censor, Gangsta Grandma always makes the perfect example as to why we don't do that. We believe everybody should be able to speak, including her. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to about 60,000. We can certainly make that happen if you let your thumbs not be lazy. Enjoy the programming you're listening to. Follow us if you happen to be watching on Instagram or TikTok. Give us a sub if you happen to be tuned in on YouTube. By the way, I'll go ahead and say it once again. We're going to be doing lives on Facebook as well. You could really help out the channel if you would go to Tim Liberals with an S and just follow that page. That's all you need to do. We will be adding that as a live platform shortly. So Tim Liberals with an S on Facebook. Do your boy a solid. Follow that page. You'll see my picture there so you know it's authentic. Africans never practiced chattel slavery. Did it have any slaves in Egypt at all? I thought Egypt had slaves. Built the pyramids and all of that. I thought that was built by slaves. Okay, maybe like my last guest said, I need to go have a history lesson. But I believe there was some slavery on Africa, on the continent. None at all, huh? She was drunk. No, she is not drunk. She is a strong, passionate debater. Now, she smokes her weed. She talks about that. MAGA reacts says that was 4,000 years ago. Okay. Speaking of which, good evening. Welcome to the program. This isn't Westchester Dog Show. MAGA reacts. Good evening.
Tim, do you want me to just insult you for hours? Is that what you like? No. What the fuck was that?
I can go down the street and pay the dominatrix to do that. No, I'm just simply asking, what does MAGA mean? We'll just get into the program. I don't want to be insulted for an hour. But listen, if you do have a strong opinion that's different from my own, I don't mind you stating it passionately. I mean, I don't mind that at all. Gangsta Grandma is very passionate about her opinion.
It's not even just stating her opinion. She's just straight up insulting you.
Yeah.
That's the part I don't like. I'm pro free speech too, but that's the only reason. You're the only TikTok I ever get on, because all the other ones mute and do all this other stupid shit that I'm like, we're supposed to be talking,
Right. Yeah. You anybody listening, he's actually 100% accurate. We don't block, ban, or censor anybody. We said, and I'm the same way. When I go in MAGA lives, I get muted and blocked and dropped all the time. Man, we don't do that. Just because you got an adverse opinion doesn't mean a damn thing. We let you speak. But then we'll just get right into the topic. How would you explain what MAGA is to someone like a foreigner just coming to the country for the first time and seeing the red hats, or somebody that is watching YouTube or American news like Fox, and they're seeing this and hearing MAGA, make America great and keep America great? How would you explain that to a layman?
Basically, it's a bunch of people that wanted something different, and they picked the most different president they could ever pick, more different than anyone before him. Yet, he's also a little bit of everything. He's a little conservative. He's a little corporate. He's a little, down to earth. He's a little bit of everything. A little crazy. It's definitely required in any leader to be a little crazy. Yeah.
Well, you said you wanted something.
We're a big coalition of so many different groups. There's not just one MAGA. It's just a coalition of a bunch of people that were sick of how things were done. So we chose the drastic measure to.
Okay, sick of how things were being done and wanted something different. Give me 3 things that are different about Trump than anybody else.
Well, how he's on social media listening to everything we say. He follows our trends just as much as we follow his tweets.
Okay.
He's always on in front of the media, talking to them and answering their questions, no matter how dumb and how set up they are.
Okay.
And he's there every day. I mean, we interact with him every day in one way or another, even if we don't want to.
Okay, so he's on media. He's interacting with the people. Okay, that's one.
And then, you know, he's always on top of things. Like anything happens, he'll be answering it, talking about it, and answering and working on it the next day. Like we literally are so involved in this government through watching him. It's kind of crazy.
Well, your second answer pretty much is almost like redundant of the first answer.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out the three things that make sense. You said we wanted something different, so because you know, but your second answer, people who support Obama can say he was always on it and doing stuff and talking to the people. So
that's what I liked about him too, about Obama. I mean, when he showed up on the Tonight Show, those were my favorite episodes of the Tonight Show.
How do you respond to now in the comments? Chris responds by saying he lies a lot almost every time he's on television. How do you respond to folks who might suggest, yeah, he's talking to people, but he's never said anything that's true? How do you respond to that?
He's just talking. Just because some of the shit he says is like technically not 100% accurate, or you don't see the same thing, you don't see things the way he doesn't mean it's automatically a lie. Like a lot of it is perspective. Like from the left, it looks like a fucking lie. From the right, it makes perfect sense, and we get what he's saying. But you're like, oh, but technically he said it this way, so I could, in my eyes, it's considered a lie because, you know, the way he said this word means you know, it's like fucking every time Michael and Den call up here. It's like they have Trump decoder rings, yet they're fucking, what they're saying makes no sense because, you know, they just don't understand the man. And
okay, so let me give you.
That goes for you too.
Okay, right now you're going to. Okay, well right now you're going to help me understand the man. And since I don't understand it, you're going to help me. When he said the Epstein thing was a Democratic hoax, give me your interpretation. What did that mean?
That means that they took something that was real, like, you know, like COVID and like any other disaster. They took advantage of a good disaster and they used it against him politically, even though it has nothing to do with him. Even though COVID had nothing to do with him, he didn't start COVID. He didn't start this Epstein problem. He had nothing to do with the Epstein problem. I mean, he kind of inherited it. And because he hired that one guy that used to be, you know, the one that prosecuted Epstein and gave him the sweetheart deal, just because he hired him, he got associated with it. And just because he knew the guy back in the 70s and 80s, he's associated with him.
I'm hearing your definition. I mean, honest, I'm hearing your definition is making me wonder, do you know what a hoax is? Because using something that actually exists against you is not a hoax. Maybe using it as a weapon, but if it actually exists, it's not a hoax. So when he said it's a Democratic, a hoax usually means you created something out of thin air.
I mean, in this situation, they added shit to it to make it a hoax. Like climate change. Climate change is very real, but the way they used it, it becomes almost like a hoax. Like they're trying to use it to manipulate and trick us into doing shit. You know, so it's more about them using the Epstein file or COVID or climate change to manipulate us and trick us.
Okay, manipulation is something different. Hold on, hold on.
What hoaxsters do, people who are trying to pull a hoax, it's all about manipulation and tricking people.
Well, I got a slight variation there. Before we continue, Drop Barracuda, thank you for the support, says respect for hosting the conversation. Thank you. The only way we can live peacefully with one another is by taking and being open to listening, which we certainly are here. He says we're more alike than different when the hysteria is not there. I like that. Thank you. And I would wonder how we can get rid of the hysteria. We'll talk about that. But in regards to the hoax thing, I just think you have a different definition of what a hoax is, MAGA. I mean, a hoax is, you know, like I said, fabricating something out of thin air. You're not suggesting that the Democrats fabricated Epstein out of thin air, are you?
No, I'm just saying they took advantage of a crisis.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
my interpretation of
I
what
mean,
he's
that's like
saying.
that would be like Trump took advantage of the border crisis and used it as a weapon, and it worked. I mean, if it's a real issue, we didn't call Trump's border stuff a hoax. I mean, it was based on something real.
Yeah, except they use a lot of manipulation and lying in their
Yeah, like Trump saying that they emptied out. Yeah, like Trump saying they emptied out insane asylums and they're sending nothing but rapists. And I mean, yeah, that's exactly what he did. He turned the border crisis into making it sound like it was a whole bunch of zombies biting and infecting everybody. I mean, he did exactly what you're saying, and we still didn't call it a hoax.
Well, then it was. I mean, in a way, you did, because you keep saying that the border was secure. Not you, but other liberals like Crazy Grandma. That she said it was a hoax and the border was secure and all that shit. They say that all the time. Do they not?
No, there were plenty of liberals like myself who was not saying the border was secure. I think look, you got pictures of caravans and shit coming in the country. It was known that people were coming in the country that had not been vetted. There's no way to suggest that the border was under control. There was a lot of liberals that were not agreeing with that. I mean, that's why a lot of liberals, when you look at one of the things that people favored from Trump, his border campaign promises, he had like 70 or some odd percent approval, which means Democrats had to be part of that too. There were plenty of Democrats that were like, yeah, what he's talking about doing on the border is a good thing.
Yeah, and he fulfilled that right away. Yeah. And as far as I've seen, he's still working on everything he promised.
Well, why the hell they take MAGA reacts down? Now, MAGA, you should be able to appeal that. I don't know. Sometimes some of our guests, I'm all for free speech, but unfortunately, sometimes the apps, with AI and shit like that, they hear a word and they tell. How does Gangsta Grandma survive and MAGA reacts must be somebody in the comments that don't like him. MAGA reacts, you didn't say shit that should have got you taken down. File an appeal. You should be able to come back with that. I don't know why they dropped him. He's always invited on the program. Anyway, looking in the comments though, Egypt had a mix after that with almost skin after. Okay, you guys are talking amongst each other. Over 84 million Trumpers and counting. I don't believe that. And I'm not taking away from the fact that Trump won the last election. I don't believe you have 84 million Trumpers and counting, because you're going by, how many people voted for him in the last election. There's no way in hell I think his support with Hispanics is the same as it was. The blacks that I talk to, Black MAGA still really likes Trump. So I don't know if he's lost a lot of support among the black voters, but he's lost a lot of support among Hispanics. So when you say that 80, and somebody says looked it up recently, nah, because there's no way in hell I would, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't get it all right. I'm not a know-it-all. I get everybody from liberals to MAGA correcting me on shit all the time. That's why I enjoy free speech. I'm not a know-it-all, and I don't ever purport to be one. But I'm going to just say, and this is based on my feelings, facts over feelings. This is feelings over facts. I don't feel that there is any way Trump still has the same Hispanic support that he had going into the 2024 election. I don't feel like that. And I'll say I'm so much in my feelings that I would bet money on it. That if they actually had that whatever happens, the midterms, for instance, there's a reason why he's gerrymandering those midterms. That ain't happening just because he feels like doing it. There is a reason why that's happening in a state like Texas. My feelings suggest that his Hispanic support has dropped dramatically. If the Hispanics are watching what's going on with the Hispanic community all over the country like that, and they're still voting for Trump, Jesus Christ. Anyway, going back to the box, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Look, if he was just deporting rapists and murderers and really bad hombres, like he said, yeah, he would probably still maintain most of his Hispanic support. But when you're hearing about grandma getting kicked out of the country and little kids being sent back to a country they have no ties to, don't know the language and shit like that, the Hispanic population is not looking at that like, yay, that's a good thing. People are afraid. Actual American citizens are afraid to show up to work and shit like that because ICE is showing. No, the Hispanic population is not. That 84 million, I don't know what part of his 84 million, what part of that is, what percentage of that is Hispanics, but I feel confident that has dropped. That is dropped. Hey, Tim, any of those immigrants white? A few, not many, a few. There are whites. I mean, Canada, for instance, that's the reason why they don't come here anymore. There are white immigrants that have came to this country and had problems, but overwhelmingly, they're not white. Overwhelmingly. But look, at the same time, there are not a lot of white people that come to the country. I mean, it's mostly Hispanics, but I mean, there are Asians. I mean, there are some whites, but the overwhelming majority of our immigrants, certainly the ones that are here illegally, on TPS in asylum, most of them are brown people. I mean, there's a much larger pool of them, so you wouldn't expect as many white illegal immigrants to be getting deported as brown people. And I see Arsha says, you saying that's not true? You're saying there's more white migrants coming to America than Hispanics? You have to let me know where you're getting that from. They flipped immigration on its head and let in only people of color. They wanted to break us. Now that sounds like something straight out of replacement theory, where you're saying that they flipped. The actual quote is they flipped immigration on its head. This is coming from Salad Slaps. That's a hell of a name. Salad Slaps says they flipped immigration on its head and let in only people of color. There's no evidence to that. That's not true. That is flat out false. There is no evidence that white people were trying to get in this country and being denied access. That is simply not true. I don't believe that for a second. But if you got something to show me, then I'll leave it like that. But to me, that sounds like something that's straight out of the replacement theory playbook. I love legal immigrants. My girlfriend is Nigerian. She came legally on an education and work visa. She's amazing. Shout out to you. Well, the problem with legal immigrants is, first of all, it's very difficult to get here legally. You got to have qualifications. You got to have money. You got to have a sponsorship. You got to have something significant. And the Trump administration has made it harder to come here legally. So he's telling you come here legally while making it harder to do as well. TPS and claiming asylum were legal methods to get here. He's ended all of that. And that's the majority of the folks that were coming here legally were asylum seekers and people coming here with temporary protected status. He's ended that. So he's made it much harder to come. In fact, can you even claim asylum and get in the country at all now? I mean, shit, if you came from Gaza, you can't get in. Doesn't matter where you're coming from. He was trying to send the Haitians back to war-torn Haiti. A judge had to stop him. They were trying to send you back to Haiti. Country barely even has a fucking government. Obama and Biden made it too damn easy. And many are going to suggest that Trump is making it too damn hard. But I think the right favors Trump making it too damn hard. Let me go back to the box. Tap the screen. Are we going to get 75,000? Yeah, we can do that if we tap the screen, show the program some love. Boom shakalaka. Tap the screen, get the like something. Yeah, illegal. Yes, illegal Hispanics don't like Trump. Only the legal immigrants like him. Where are you getting your information? Only legal immigrants are allowed to vote. Legal don't matter. Well, I think it says Marco, I made it clear that I was making my statement based on how I feel. I'm not 100% certain I'm right, but I feel very confident that I am because most illegal immigrants have friends that are here legally. Most illegal immigrants have people that are here legally that care about them and do not like what's happening to them. Anytime you see ICE deporting or arresting illegal immigrants, look at all the legal Hispanics that are sitting there not liking that. So you think they voted? You think they're sitting around saying, yay, we voted for this guy to be taken away? I don't buy that. Boom shakalaka. Good evening.
What's up, brother? I didn't come up here to debate, man. It's the first time I seen your show. I just came up here to give you flowers, brother, because you're objective. And that's really hard to find on both sides. I try to be like that on my show as well, and I don't see that too much from the left. So I'm just giving you your flowers, brother. I'm not even coming here to debate because I agree with a lot of you said on both sides of the coin, and I think most people should be that way instead of being partisan and biased when it comes to their political party. And I appreciate that.
I appreciate the compliment. I'm going to ask you this: when you say that most people should be that way, how would you respond to folks who suggest that if our leadership is divisive, the people are likely to be that way as well? So the only way we're going to unite, some would say, is to have leadership that operates from a platform of unity, which many people believe Trump is not doing that. Your take?
Yeah, I think both sides do that, and I think it's purposely done. If they can divide, then we become partisan and we choose sides when it comes to voting. If they keep us pretty much united, we would jump all over the place when it comes to our vote. So the Republicans must use propaganda to keep the right on the right. The Democrats must use propaganda to keep the left on the left. So it's purposely done.
So if both sides is purposely being divisive, do you believe that a divided America can successfully become great again?
Oh, wow. Great question. Oh, wow. Ooh.
That's what we do here. Appreciate it. That's what we do here. I mean, if the goal is to make America great again while it's simultaneously being divisive, as you're admitting, is that achievable? Thank you for sharing the live there, Jerry. Thank you.
I think we can become great again in certain areas. I think it's going to be hard for us to become great again socially because we're much so divided. But I think fiscally, yes, we can become great again. We've always been a divided country, but fiscally, yes. Socially, no. I don't think we will ever become.
Do you think we would be in a good position if we were divided but strong? But if we were doing well fiscally, but we were divided as hell, do you see that as a good in America in good standing?
I think it can be. I think we have survived as a country. Since the inception, divided socially like that. I think we can survive. I think we're still going to have chaos. I think we've always had chaos. I think the chaos is probably a little bit more spotlighted now because of social media. But we've always been a divided country. We've always, been in each other's head. I just think, but I said I think we can become a country united fiscally. If everybody's doing well, most people are doing well.
Fair enough. Let me present a fictional example. I'm gonna give you a fictional story, and I want you to tell me if you see this as something that might be viewed as great. Let's imagine a father that's earning a good income, and he's providing everything for his wife and children. So dad comes home from work, very nice house. They got a very nice bank account. They got the whole American dream, 2 cars, the picket fence, you name it. Nice bank account, everything. But dad, when he comes home from work, he tells the wife how fat she looks in the dress. He tells the sister something negative in her ear about the brother, so she's pissed off at the brother. Then he goes to the brother and tells that brother something negative in his ear about the sister, so they're pissed off. So everybody at the dinner table hates each other and wants to go to their rooms, but dad is sitting there saying, but look at this nice car we got. Look at this bank account. We are fiscally great. Do you see that as a well-functioning household?
I think most households, a lot of households have been like that. But not just the dad. I mean,
Would you want to live there? Would you want to live there?
See, my household, brother, I like brutal honesty anyway. So I don't like the sugarcoating stuff. That's one reason why I left the Democrat Party. I don't like the sugarcoating. I like brutal honesty. I think
You see Pocahontas as brutal honesty?
Pocahontas?
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, whispering negative things in people's ears. You see, calling somebody Pocahontas or Nervous Nancy and Sleepy Joe, you see that stuff as brutal honesty?
No. That's just him trolling and being a jerk. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just, if your wife asks you if I look fat in this dress, just being honest and say, yes, you do. Honey, am I balding? Is my hairline receding back too far for me to wear my hair out, or do I need to shave it off? And she said, oh, no, just wear it out. And I walk around looking like George Jefferson.
But notice in your example, you said if the wife asked how she looked in the dress. In my example, he just came home and told her, you're looking fat. She didn't ask. He just did that.
Yeah, still, I like that as well. No, I like the brutal honesty. I think brutal honesty makes people be accountable and fix themselves for the most part. But what we've created in this society is a bunch of soft little. What did the grandma call you?
You believe that
grandma call you? What did grandma call you earlier?
Grandma called me every fucking thing. But you really believe that if you go around and brutally just insult people, it'll make them be more accountable? Just tell fat people you're fat, your guts hanging out, your breath thing. You think if you just went around telling people that, it would make them accountable?
No, you said your family members. I'm not talking about strangers.
Even your family members. If you went around just
yeah. No. It does. My family, we're brutally honest with each other, and it works. It works. We try to fix ourselves.
What do you like to?
Absolutely. I think accountability is gone. It's gone. It's everybody coddling each other. It used to be on social media. If you put a picture up, people could honestly say what they felt about your picture. And now, if you put a picture up and it's not a nice picture, if you say something mean, that's bullying. You can get reported. Everything has to be nice. I don't believe in participation trophies, man. I believe in first, second, third. That's it. I don't believe in participation. I do not. I think that coddles us as people, and it hurts us in the long run. We don't learn anything from that.
So how do you feel?
We grew up and we think we're entitled to everything.
Yeah, but how do you feel about the fact that during that time when you put your picture up and people would say awful shit, you had some children committing suicide and going into mental issues because people were saying all this? I mean, how do you're okay with that then, right? Because that's what was happening.
I think we've always had that, man. We've always had people, and I mean, depression still is the number one reason for suicide. It's still number one. So we stopped all the bullying, yet depression is still number one, and people are still unaliving themselves. So I don't think that's. I think that, like I said, I think that was part of the Marxism angle that the Democrats were going in, where they wanted to control everybody's speech patterns and have everybody thinking one way and saying one thing. We've always had people that were depressed. We've always had people that were suicidal, etc. Before and after, this cancel culture. So no, it hasn't hurt. It hasn't helped at all.
So you kind of favor more like the Archie Bunker generation, where you could just say what you wanted to say.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah, hell yeah. I mean, those are my two favorite shows. Three favorite shows. The Jeffersons are All in the Family and Sanford and Son. Those are my three favorite shows, man.
You do realize
comedy than that.
You do realize Archie Bunker would probably lose his life in modern day America. I mean,
yeah. But, I mean, it was just comedy, though. It's comedy. Yeah, that's all it was. People take it too seriously. It's comedy. He wasn't out there. You couldn't say that publicly, but it was comedy. It was just a TV show. Now that show would get canceled because everybody would get their feelings hurt, and it's just comedy.
No.
We need comedy. We need laughter.
I don't know. I mean, to me that almost sounds like Mattel making a 9/11 set where the kid gets to crash, planes into little Lego buildings, and they actually make this. I mean, because you're calling somebody the N-word, something they used when they used to hang the person. I mean, you're making fun of something that was used to be a tragedy. Would you be okay with a little 9/11 World Trade Center playset that comes with a little breakaway jet that crashes into the building?
No, I think, but Archie Bunker never used the N-word. He
did? What?
No, he didn't. I still watch it to this day. He said a whole bunch of other things.
No,
he never said the N-word.
No, he used the N-word.
No,
I got clips of it.
He would say spook and shit. He never said the N-word.
No, he used the actual hard R.
No,
he used the actual hard ER. I just saw a clip of him doing it the other day. You really didn't hear him do that?
I got to look that. I didn't see that episode.
Let me see if I can. I'm 100% certain
that one. He said a lot of other offensive things. Yes.
No, he said that word too.
It was comedy.
Okay, well, let me.
George Jefferson was his counterpart. He said a whole bunch of silly stuff as well.
Yeah, but I think you're underestimating how far Archie Bunker went. So let's see if we can maybe correct that a little bit.
This is the Mammy part. This is the Mammy episode.
Yeah, right. But you're telling me he didn't say the word. I think they made
it alone. Put it down. Mom, will you leave me alone, please? I said put it down. You've had enough. Mom, I'm a big boy now. I don't need you to blow my nose for me. Now, will you leave me alone? Hey there, Jefferson. That ain't very nice, talking that way to your little mammy here. Who you calling mammy? You. Well, don't you dare call me mammy. I'm nobody's mammy. I'm his mother. Now, if you've got anything to say to me, you call me Mrs. Jefferson. Oh, she's Mrs. Jefferson. Don't talk to me. And don't you try to make a big either. Mother Jefferson, what's wrong? No, I'm getting out of here. George, what's going on? He called Mama Mammy. I didn't think I was doing nothing wrong. I thought all colored people call their mothers Mammy. Well, I did, Jefferson. That's what I always said. Geez, Al Jolson called his mother Mammy for years. You see, that you get the inviting wife. Hi. Hey. Hey, if you're looking for the Elks Club, it's down the hall. No, man, still in the right place. Oh, yeah? What are you, the caterer? So what are you doing here, a white guy? I'm a guest. What are you doing here, a white guy? I'm the family's white friend.
It ain't much longer.
Lenny! Oh, Mom! You look beautiful. Oh, so do you, baby. So do you.
You see that little girl over there? That's the little girl that Lionel's going to marry. Yeah, I know. You know who that lady is hugging her? No. She's my wife. Oh, hi, Mr. Wells. Oh, I see you met Mr. Bunker. Oh, we met.
Well, Lionel, shouldn't we introduce my parents to yours?
Oh, yeah, sure. Now, wait a minute there, Lionel. Hey, do you mean to tell me that your father ain't met that man? No, I'm going to introduce him right now. This I got to see. Could you come over here a second? I got some people I want you to meet. Hey, Jefferson, you're going to love this. Okay, Mom, Pop, this is Jenny's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Willis. I'm very pleased to meet you.
Okay, it said the word was in there. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I heard him say that.
It's not. Like he said color, and he said a whole bunch of other things. We never used that.
All right, okay. I'm pretty sure I heard him say it though. Say that again.
George used the N-word before, but not him.
Okay, all right. I'm pretty sure I heard him say it before though. But go ahead.
I mean, you can't get better comedy than that, man. Raw, authentic comedy. It's all canceled now.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that going back to this would be something great. I mean, there's so many things you could tell jokes about. I don't know if telling the N-word is something you need to have a joke about because somebody gonna take this shit seriously.
Not the N-word. No.
I mean, just joking about racism in general. I don't see. I mean, somebody gonna take it seriously.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the world we live in now because. Your liberals have made everybody sensitive now, so we can't say, we can't even say the word "ladies and gentlemen" anymore. That's offensive. Can't say the word
liberals have made everybody sensitive. Yet you guys are canceling Taylor Swift and everybody from the Dixie Chicks, but it's the liberals. Trump is talking about canceling Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship because he don't like the shit she's saying about him.
Yeah, that's Donald Trump, man. Donald Trump gets on his little soapbox and he says a whole bunch of stupid stuff that he shouldn't say.
Ain't that the guy you voted for?
Huh?
Ain't that the guy you voted for?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
So you can't talk about, you can't vote for cancel culture and then complain about cancel culture.
Well, most of the stuff he said, 99% of the stuff he says, he's just trolling, saying a whole bunch of stuff, but he's not actually out there really canceling these people. He actually gave our freedom of speech back on social media that was taken away after that Russian hoax stuff back in 2017. So we got our freedom of speech back on social media, except for this platform. This is the last platform.
We got our freedom of speech back. Go tell that to NPR. Go tell that to Stephen Colbert. I don't think that I think we're getting our right-wing freedom of speech back. But I bet you South Park is gonna get attacked now. I don't see him as giving us freedom of speech back. He's giving us freedom to say what he likes. But if you say what he don't like, he doesn't want to give you freedom of speech.
Well, Trump is going to be Trump, but I'm talking about as far as legislation. You know, Trump is always going to say something silly. He's going to tweet it out. He's going to say something silly because he talks too much. Like I said, I'm objective with Trump. He talks way too much. He says a bunch of silly shit.
Yeah, but it ain't just Trump. I mean, somebody mentioned in the comments Bud Light. I mean, you got Kid Rock shooting beer cans and shit. That ain't just Trump. I mean, the right was going after that. It ain't all.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that. There was like some temporary stuff that they went through. That they tried to cancel a few people. But it's like
culture.
But you guys cancel people just look at Scott Baio. They after Scott Baio spoke, I believe at the Republican convention, they canceled Scott Baio. You can't even if you support Donald Trump and you say anything positive, if you have a meeting with Donald Trump, they cancel you. Look what they did to Ice Cube.
Right. And
look what they did to Ice Cube.
As if Robert De Niro ain't as if Robert De Niro ain't getting the same treatment.
I mean, he got the same treatment this time for the left, but he didn't get canceled. He didn't get canceled. You hear what Ice Cube said? They wouldn't even invite Ice Cube they tried to get rid of his Big Three, and he was invited to the Oprah show to promote Big Three or something like that, and that got canceled.
I don't see any. What's the difference between
Ice Cube's mouth?
What's the difference between
Trump about the platinum plan?
What's the difference between canceling Ice Cube's Big Three and what he's doing to Stephen Colbert? I mean, cancel's canceled, right?
How did Trump have anything to do with that?
The guy, okay. Paramount, which is what owns the Stephen Colbert show, is merging with I cannot think of the name. Something media. It's a big media. It's two companies merging, and the only way that merger,
and they need Trump's approval for it or something.
Right. They need his approval. Yeah. And the only way he's gonna give the approval is for the Stephen Colbert show to go away. Like he's also talking about.
Come on, man. Come on, really? Come on. What? You think that was in the clause? The only way that I would approve is Stephen Colbert going away?
When you got the man actually online saying that he's not going to approve the Washington Commanders' deal to get a new stadium if they don't name themselves the Redskins again, yeah, he's capable of that. He's showing you he's capable of it.
You got to look at what channel is Stephen Colbert on?
CBS.
NBC. CBS?
Yeah, it's a CBS show.
CBS. So if that's the mindset and that's the case, he would literally everybody on CBS would be canceled.
No,
because it's a left-leaning TV station.
No,
Colbert.
CBS. Everybody on CBS is nowhere near to the left. Like Colbert specifically attacks Trump. It's not just left. It is an anti-Trump program. You're not going to compare that to Gayle King or somebody. And by the way, he's attacked Gayle King as well. But no, Stephen Colbert specifically goes after Trump. And Trump is specifically trying to cancel Stephen Colbert.
But he goes after everyone. He goes after the people on the right just like he does the people on the left. His biggest target is white men. And then when he goes after a person of color, the racism card is pulled out. He goes after everybody. He goes after the right equally.
I'm just simply saying you're talking about the left is involved in cancel culture, and yet your leader is deep in cancel culture. I mean, you voted for cancel culture.
I don't think he had anything to do with canceling or getting rid of Stephen Colbert.
Right. He just got online and celebrated it. Mm-hmm. He just got online and celebrated it.
Yeah, but he didn't say he was the reason. He celebrated
the guy who owns the media conglomerate that's swallowing up Paramount is one of his close associates. If you don't believe they have any backdoor, if you don't believe there's any backdoor deals going between them, when Trump has to approve the deal, you really don't. The guy's supposed to be this great deal maker. Here it is, a deal that this is like the perfect opportunity for Trump to go after Stephen Colbert. First of all, my friend is buying a company that's going to end up owning the Stephen Colbert show, and the deal don't go through unless I approve it. Everything, the writing is on the wall that Trump could easily make Stephen Colbert go away. And then the minute the guy is canceled, Trump's all over social media celebrating it. And yet, he didn't have nothing to do with this, is what you're saying.
It's hard for me to believe it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, again, Stephen Colbert's ratings weren't even through the roof like that. I mean, he would...
He's number one.
It's so many people... So many programs that speak out against Donald Trump that have higher ratings, that are flourishing, that are still that he could go in and try to cancel and get rid of, but I mean, he's not doing it. I mean, The View. I mean, we can go on and every late night show we're talking about go against Trump. I mean,
well, first of all, he's
you can't find any of those talk shows to talk favorably about him.
He's number one in that time slot. People saying he lost money and his ratings. He's out of Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, and Stephen Colbert, the three that are on what they call linear TV, ABC, CBS, and NBC. He's number one. His rankings or ratings are above Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon. So he's number one. His ratings weren't that bad. There were all kinds of options they could have gave him, such as he could have fired some staff, maybe potentially been willing to take a pay cut. They just straight got rid of him. They didn't try to do anything to reduce how much money the show cost.
They got rid of him because he spoke out against the bigwigs.
They got rid of him. They got rid of him because of Trump. If Stephen Colbert goes to the internet, he'll be a smashing success. There is plenty of room for Stephen Colbert to still attract a huge audience. He's being tossed because of Trump. He's not being tossed because nobody's watching him. There are a lot of people still watching that dude. And chances are he's not going to go away when he leaves CBS. He's not going to go away.
No, I don't think he's going to go away. I think he has a big fan base. Yeah. You got to remember, though, but if you call out your bosses like he did, see, you're forgetting that. When you called out your bosses like he did for making a settlement with Trump, when you call them out and and degrade them, I mean, if I'm a boss and I'm looking at my sheets and I'm saying you're not bringing in enough revenue anyway, I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
And that's what he
perfect
did.
timing.
He called them out.
Yeah, it's just perfect timing. This all just happened right when that deal is going through, and Trump just happened to be right on Johnny on the spot to go on the internet and brag about it. It's so suspicious looking that to me.
Who calls out your boss? Who calls out their boss and keeps their job? You can't do that.
Shit, successful people do it all the time. If you got the number one rated show, you can get away with some shit.
Yeah, but they said he was losing money. That's what they said. Yeah. I agree with you. You got the number one rated show. Yeah, you can do a whole. It's a funny. I'm gonna give you a funny little story, anecdotal story. When I was younger, I used to work on. I was an extra, but I used to work on the Martin show.
Really?
Right? And Martin literally was the biggest a-hole you've ever seen in your life.
Wow.
He would come on cussing everybody out, the producers, everyone. And they let the show go on. The executive producers would sit in the room and just be quiet while he just went on his tangent, just cussing everybody out. Gina, Cole, everybody. And he got
Why? Why would he do that?
So I agree. Huh?
Why was he cussing them all out?
He was just, brother, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. I mean, maybe he had, I'm from Washington, D.C. like he was as well. So it's a lot of hostility when you coming from D.C. Like, I moved to California. It took me 2 years to calm down. So maybe that has something to do with it. But he was literally the biggest A you've ever seen in your life on that show. I mean, it wasn't even close. And when I was younger, I did a lot of extra work on a lot of TV shows. He was the worst one I ever seen.
So working for Martin was probably akin to working for Trump now, huh?
Huh?
Working for Martin was probably akin to working for Trump.
No. Martin.
I've heard Trump was a pretty big asshole too.
I don't think he's cussing everybody out like that. He would have you don't understand. Martin would have the entire show, like the extras, everybody just quiet and scared and walking on eggshells. because he would cuss you out.
And you don't think that people around Trump are walking on eggshells? Trump cussing people out on Twitter and in public. You know he's doing it behind closed doors. He cussing people out in public.
They do kiss his butt every time. Every time they go to a press conference, they say, and I watch it. I'm like, damn. They say, with your leadership, Donald Trump, with Donald Trump's leadership, it's like protocol for them to say it.
I mean, when he
likes the ring to be kissed.
When he said he obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities, every single person that had a news story after that used the word obliterate. Like, you motherfuckers can't even come up with a synonym. I mean, you're that used to repeating this word that every one of them is saying obliterated. Like,
I agree.
I mean,
agree.
He sounds like the same type of individual. Before I let you go, though, do you favor what ICE is doing right now? You think they're doing a good job? Do you favor this, or better yet, the federalization of Washington, D.C.? You think this is good stuff?
Absolutely. 100%, everything, 100%. Yes, like I said, I grew up in Washington D.C. and then I saw I saw crime through the roof and the smack through the 80s, and I saw all of that, man. So
why not expand the police force though? Why send in the guard? Why not just allocate more money to the police force? Why would you give this job to people who are not trained to do it?
Work. They weren't enforcing the laws. That's number one. They were on the books, and then they decriminalized a lot of those laws as well, if you remember. And that's in most of these liberal cities around the country. They decriminalized a lot of the violent crime, and people weren't getting arrested anymore. So that made the books look good as well. That cooked the books to say, "Oh, crime is down, crime is down." But people were committing crimes, not getting arrested. People were committing crimes, getting out with no bail. And some of the kids, they weren't getting arrested at all. They were just letting them, total anarchy. Same thing out here in California. You could go in and steal $1,000 worth of items, and
something, that's a Republican talking point, because it came out that they do have that same law in Texas where there's a certain amount you can shoplift, and I believe the amount in Texas is even more. I mean, but they don't talk about that because they're only going after liberal cities, which is what I was going to ask you. If we're going into cities, to thwart high crime, why is he only talking about doing this in liberal states? I mean, Houston got a high crime rate, St. Louis, Memphis. Why is he not talking about doing this to any high violent city that's in a Republican state? Because he's talking about Chicago and LA. There's a whole lot more violent cities than that. Why is he only picking liberal states?
No, you got to listen to his press conferences. He pointed out going after the liberal cities. That's what he said. He's going after the liberal cities.
Give me a liberal city in a Republican state that he talked about.
He didn't call any of them out specifically besides Chicago.
He called out Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles.
Right.
But he mentioned the liberal. He also said the liberal-run cities. That's what he said. And we're talking about Houston.
Yeah, but have you ever heard him criticize any liberal-run city that happens to be in a Republican state? Have you ever heard him say anything negative about St. Louis, Memphis, Baton Rouge? Have you heard him in Little Rock? All these. Do you have any quotes from him at all saying anything about those cities?
No, I haven't heard him specifically call any of those cities out.
Why is that? Because their murder rate is higher than Chicago. Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's using partisan politics as well. But he did say he was going after the liberal-run cities and the Republican states. But he has to be partisan. I mean, they're partisan. So
yeah, but if you're solving crime from a partisan standpoint, are you really solving crime, or are you just trying to stick it to the opposition? I mean, if you're going to ignore violent cities that happen to be in Republican states, and you're only focused on your enemies' areas, then it doesn't sound like you're really concerned with high crime. It sounds like you're trying to do something else.
I think he's going after the big fish first, and that's what it sounds like.
That ain't the big fish. That's what I'm saying.
Chicago and LA aren't the big fish?
No, if your goal is to go after the most violent cities in America, Chicago and LA are not the big fish. They're not.
They are the big fish.
How?
Per capita, they may not be the big fish, but as far as just numbers, they're the big fish. Per capita, yes, we can go to Memphis or another city like that, but overall numbers, they're the big fish. Absolutely.
So
per capita, no.
So in other words, you go after the big fish and you just totally skip and say nothing about the liberal cities and Republican areas. Don't even mention them. They're not even honorable mentions.
Because the big fish is going to get all the attention. That's going to get all the network news. So if he comes in and he fixes Los Angeles, and he comes in and fixes Chicago, as opposed to going in and fixing Memphis.
You do realize
they're going to be a lot bigger.
You do realize the fourth largest city in America is Houston, and it has a lot of crime in it. I have not heard Trump say anything negative about Houston at all. Why is that?
Because he's in Texas, and he doesn't want to throw Abbott under the bus.
And that's what I just stated. So you're not trying to solve crime. You're trying to play partisan politics, and you're using the solving of crime as an excuse for what you're doing. That's not genuine.
He's going to solve the crime, but he's going to try to solve the crime, but he's going to use partisan politics as well. He's going to do both. So yeah, but he did mention the liberal cities. He did. Now, did he mention Houston specifically? No, but he did mention fixing the liberal run cities that were bad in the red states.
Yeah, but
he did not mention
he's been
Houston
president.
specifically.
He's been president for 4 years and about almost 8 months now. He's constantly mentioned liberal cities and liberal states. When I ask you, have he ever mentioned Memphis, St. Louis, or Houston? He's never done it at all. Out of the whole time he's been president, even during the Biden years, he wasn't saying anything about those states. Why is that?
Because they're the little fish. He only mentioned Washington D.C. because that's where he lives.
Houston is a little fish.
Yeah, you're gonna try to fix the big dogs. That's gonna get you the headlines.
You're telling me the fourth largest city in America is a little fish?
No. You said Little Rock or something like that.
No, I said Houston. Houston has a ton of crime in it. He's never mentioned anything about Houston. Why is that?
He didn't mention it. Partisan politics.
Exactly.
He's not going to want to throw Abbott under the bus, even though he's not the mayor. But he's not going to want to throw Abbott under the bus. So what he's going to do, he's going to start with the Democrats in the Democrat-led cities with the Democrat governors, and then he's going to come to the red states and try to fix it, and then he's going to leave Abbott out the conversation and just concentrate on the mayor.
So
he's going to play politics, as he should.
So in other words, he's not really focused on solving crime. He's actually
how is that not?
Because you just stated that he's more.
Abbott.
You just stated as opposed to solving crime, his first focus is going to be preventing himself from putting Abbott under the bus. He's putting that above solving crime.
That's not. He's going to solve the crime, but he's not going to mention Abbott. He's not going to throw. It's like he's going to throw Newsom under the bus in California. He's not going to throw Abbott under the bus in Texas. He's going to throw the local mayor of Houston under the bus, but he's not going to throw Abbott under the bus.
You realize that you do realize that make him look like he's full of shit. So you're gonna hammer Gavin Newsom for the crime in his cities, but you're going to skip over Abbott and not hold him accountable for the crime in his cities. That makes him look like he's full of shit.
That's politics, brother. That's politics. Absolutely.
Whatever happened to this guy not being a typical politician? Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, I think he's not a typical politician, but he plays politics, and he has to. He plays politics. Sometimes you have to do the Washington thing and play politics. So he does it sometimes. So he's not the typical politician. We're never going to have another president like him. Never. And I think Jasmine Crockett tried to be, and she failed at it. Tried to be the black woman Trump by starting to cuss and act a fool, but she got a lot of backlash from it, and I think it's going to pretty much end her career. She tried to be the black Democrat Trump, and it backfired. This is it. We're never going to have another Trump. Never.
Well, some might stand up and celebrate that, but it's crazy that you suggest that when Jasmine Crockett stands up and acts a fool and starts cursing, that means she's trying to be Trump, which doesn't speak very good of Trump by saying that. I mean, you're pretty much, and it also speaks highly of the Democrats by saying it's going to end her career, because the Democrats don't want somebody that stands up and cusses and acts a fool. But you guys love the guy you have that's doing that. So you're kind of painting the Democratic Party as being.
But that's not true. Remember at the beginning of the year, right after the election, the Democrats in unison were cussing their ass off. They did a video with all of them cussing. They tried every part of the playbook they can and stealing Trump's playbook, and it didn't work. They tried to you have politicians cursing and acting silly, and they thought, well, okay, this is the way to do it because Trump got away with it, but they couldn't get away with it, and then they backed off of that. But Jasmine Crockett, she just turned it up a notch and did more. And that's when it looked like, to me anyway, that they abandoned her.
I don't think they abandoned Jasmine Crockett, but I do agree with you that some Democrats are now starting to turn up the swearing. I got to move it on, but I agree with that last part. I don't favor it, and a lot of Democrats do not favor it, that the Democrats are now starting to say the only way to beat Trump is to do all of the things that Trump is doing that we've, on the left, have viewed as awful. A lot of people on the left don't want that, because I personally, myself, I do believe that this nation would be better off if we were more unified. And I don't think doing what Trump does is going to get us there, which you originally even admitted that we could be united fiscally, but we're not going to be united as a country with Trump in office. You even admitted what he's doing is not likely to make America great again. But I'll give you the last word. I got to move it on. Boom, shaka, laka. Go.
Yeah. Good conversation, brother. Love conversations like this. But I just don't think, I think it's more unified. It's more of a bullhorn with Trump in the White House, saying a lot of silly stuff. But no matter who's in office, we're going to be a divided country.
Yeah, but you're going to get a whole lot less silly stuff, a whole lot less trolling, a whole lot less name calling out of virtually anybody you put in there.
We'll go at it on social media as well. I remember when I was little, there was a rumor going around my neighborhood that if Ronald Reagan was elected, we were all going back to Africa. And that created a lot of division, with white and black in our neighborhood. So it's always been there. Trump is just the bullhorn now, and he does too much. He talks too much. He needs to put the mic down. He likes to hear himself speak. He does. But it's always been there. And even after he leaves, the division is going to be there as well. Because even if we don't have it, the politicians will create the division to keep their voting.
I think it'll be there, but I think the division will drop significantly without Trump, because you didn't have just us argue with each other. Trump is taking sides and actually a lot of the division we have now is actually Trump oriented. It didn't used to be like that. It was just us not liking one of the politicians for their policies or something like that. You didn't used to have us arguing over something the actual president said that was so divisive. Occasionally somebody might say something like Biden saying dark MAGA or cleaning their guns or something like that, but you didn't have it coming out every day via Twitter. Trump tweeted out pictures of Biden hog-tied in the back of a pickup and shit like that. That wasn't happening. I mean, he took...
Can you remember a president talking as much as he does? I don't remember one.
No, certainly not.
I mean, he likes to hear himself speak, and he talks way too much. He puts his foot in his mouth way too much. He talks about situations that his pay grade is way above. Like, why are you talking about Taylor Swift? Why are you talking about LeBron James? For what?
Because you motherfuckers like that shit. He knows he has an audience. I gotta move it on.
I don't like it.
Huh?
I'm objective. I call him out on it. I don't like that shit.
Go look at his I hate Taylor Swift post and look at how MAGA responded. It's fairly favorable. It's overwhelmingly favorable.
Yeah. You have people just like on the left that agree with anything that the left does that's divisive and nonsense.
Yeah, but you're not gonna. Obama's not gonna do no shit like that, and Biden wouldn't do it either. You're not going to have that, where they're going to be talking about taking celebrity citizenship and shit like that. Neither one of them would have done nothing like that.
But the difference in Trump, and then I'll let you go and bring somebody else up, but the difference in Trump and the Democrats is that Trump said what he meant publicly. The Democrats said what they meant and they were going to do behind closed doors, and would literally try to ruin your career, ruin your livelihood behind closed doors. We didn't see it on Twitter. We didn't see it publicly, but the Democrats were doing, it's just like Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, they said, she conceded. She conceded the election. But behind closed doors, still to this day, she said Trump is an illegitimate president that took the election from her. And then they went to work behind scenes with the whole Russian collusion thing to try to destroy that man.
Well, I will say, I think
Trump is going to tell you in your face what he thinks. The Democrats are the wolves in sheep's clothing.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think America will be a much safer country if people kept their hatred and disdain to themselves. You can think it, but when you start telling people to their face, as you said, you have a whole lot more fights doing that.
I agree with that.
That's your president. Boom shakalaka. Good talk, man. Come on back anytime.
Beautiful talk, brother. Appreciate you.
Excellent. Thank you. Moving on with the program. A MAGA nut making it up as he goes along. Wow. This guy is a complete idiot. Jeez. Caller is right for the most part. There's someone who liked the caller. Tap the screen, by the way. Go ahead. I was hoping we could get 100,000 tonight. I don't know. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. We can certainly get 80. We don't block, ban, or censor. How about that? You like uncensored free speech? How about that? You get that here. Doesn't matter what your opinion is, damn it, you have the right to speak. You can be critical of anybody on this program, including yours truly. So if you like free speech, you are in the right place. But I ask that you do your boy a solid. Follow the program if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok. If you're watching currently on YouTube, give your guy a sub. And of course, I'm going to keep saying, if you happen to have Facebook, you see scrolling behind me, Tim Liberals with an S on Facebook. Go to that page and follow that, because we're going to go start. That's going to be our next camera setup, our next live. A lot of materials already there. Most of the lives we do are already on that page, the prior lives and all that. But Tim Liberals on Facebook, follow that shit if you will. Help your boy out. Mueller said Russian collusion was not a hoax. Mueller stated that he didn't have enough information to fully convict Trump, and he didn't have enough to fully exonerate him. Yeah, Mueller, who did the 2-year investigation, certainly said that the Russian thing was not a hoax. And by the way, there are clips of Putin stating that they interfered with the election. They admitted they did it. So, and by the way, a lot of that came with Trump saying, if you got, Russia, if you got Hillary Clinton's emails, whatever the case may be, do whatever. And then they noticed a spike in hacking and things like that was going on. Once again, as my last caller was admitting to, Trump running his mouth, there's a cost to pay for that. I mean, when you sit there on national TV and literally ask our adversary to hack into the election, which is exactly what he did. I mean, he pretty much said, Russia, if you got the emails, whatever. Why would, when you run your mouth like that, there's consequences. This is for my folks who talk about Trump derangement syndrome all the time. The guy likes to troll. The guy likes to insult. Well, there are consequences to that. I'm 100% for free speech, but you don't get free speech without consequences. A lot of folks that support Trump like the insults and name calling, but act as though they don't understand where TDS comes from. Well, shit. When he's saying fuck your feelings, you don't think he's trying to make friends, do you? That's where it comes from. It's the shit he's saying. Tap the screen, get us on up to 85. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe, free the wretched, refuse. I know this is Statue of Liberty rhetoric here, or writing rather. The watch, refuse of your teeming shores, send these, the homeless, tempest. Okay, they didn't mean that shit. I get what you're saying. Bring us your tired, your weary, your poor. I always say this on the program. There are 3 well-known popular slogans that America has stated that we never meant. It's kind of like when somebody at a funeral tells you, I know you just lost your boy. If you need anything, call me. They don't really want you to fucking call them. It's just something to tell you to make you feel better while you're grieving. They don't really mean it, though. When America said, bring us your tired, your weary, your poor, all men are created equal, and separation of church and state, they didn't really mean that. It was just said to make people feel better. They didn't really mean that, though. They didn't mean all men were really created equal. They clearly didn't mean separation of church and state. And they certainly didn't mean bring us your tired, your weary, your poor, because every group of immigrants that have ever come to this country were all met with resistance and hatred. All of them were Polish, Chinese, Italians, Greek, Jewish. I mean, all of them were. We were never friendly to any group of immigrants. So it sounded good, though. It sounded good, but we didn't mean it. Handsome Sticky Finger says, color was fantastic, excellent, 30,000 points. Are you saying caller or color? Because it says color was fantastic. Anyhow, continuing on. This man could cure cancer and you all would still hate it. It is sad. You know something? If Trump was just being a good president, running this country great, and not insulting people every day, I would be more inclined to be on your side. But when you're insulting people, as you guys refer to it as trolling and saying all kinds of shit, yeah, he probably could cure cancer and people wouldn't like him because he's kind of done things and continues to do things that cause people to not like him. You guys just act as though you don't understand it. You think that if he says something awful about somebody, they should laugh when the joke is bad about them. That ain't how it works. The guy likes to insult people. There's a consequence to that. Sorry, typo fail. Caller needs to call in more. All right, well, my last caller, if someone favors you anytime, come on the show. Driver 715. Good evening, welcome to the program. He cut cancer research funding, says Travelman. So as opposed to he could cure cancer and nobody would like him, the Travelman points out, well, shit, he cut the funding for cancer research. Driver, good evening.
Good evening. How's it going?
I'm hanging around like Jesse Jackson at a Klan meeting. I'm in the trenches right now. So, what am I getting wrong?
MAGA, they crazy. They like the last caller. They don't believe anything that you. They try to switch up every story about this dude. They try to switch it up and make it sound like he didn't do anything. It's all Democrats. That the hoax thing. It's crazy. I don't understand it.
I do tend to agree that, okay, Hillary Clinton talked about a basket of deplorables. Obama said cleaning their guns and Bibles. Biden said garbage. They didn't see that as trolling or something to laugh about. But for some reason, you're right. When Trump does it, they don't seem to see it as something the liberals should take seriously, knowing damn well that if the liberals did it to them, they would take it very seriously. So I do agree that they kind of twist and spin things in Trump's favor.
But if he did it, he did it.
Right.
You know, I'd rather you accept, okay, he did it. You know, with the Russia thing. Did they not say that Russia was involved?
Yeah, they did say that.
But if you talk to MAGA, they say it was a hoax. It was a lie. Don't know. But Trump told us it was a hoax. So, which is it?
Well,
you know, that's what I don't understand. They don't agree that he did it. Something happened. They don't agree with it.
Well, I understand it a little bit. And I say this all the time, that Trump has a unique position where, at least among his supporters, at least among MAGA, he does. If he says something, it's kind of like if he says it, therefore it is. I mean, when Trump says wild stuff, you know, Obama committed an act of treason, or he's born in Kenya, or the election was stolen, he don't really have to prove it. MAGA is okay with the statement on its face. If Trump says it, that's kind of all that's necessary for them to believe it. So that's where this stuff kind of comes from. Trump, you know, the Haitian migrants eating cats and dogs was a good example. The next day, they were all like it's happening. They didn't need to actually see proof of that. So he's pretty good with that.
But then they say that we crazy. You know, how are we crazy when you don't even take the time to research it, to try to figure out, okay, why is he saying this? You just go with whatever this dude say. That is crazy. How can we be sheep and follow when they just go with what this one pink sheep tell them? I just don't understand it.
I wish I could argue with you on it, but he is in a unique position. He does have the power to say, and people believe, and that's it.
But I was listening earlier when Jeremy came on, and it sounds like he tired of defending this dude.
Yeah, that was surprising. Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, that don't sound like the Jeremy that I be listening to, you know, that's defending him.
Well, Jeremy, he voted for Trump, obviously. He's a strong advocate for Trump's defense of the border. But yeah, he is starting to suggest that a lot of things that Trump is saying that's not coming true, or he's not one to just spin it into something and make it sound true. He's admitting, like, okay, you promised to end the war in 24 hours, you didn't do it. He's holding him accountable. Whereas some of the other folks are like, well, you know, he was just saying that, he didn't really mean it. No, he's holding them accountable for it.
You know, all of this stuff, I'm from D.C., so
how's your city going, by the way? Wow, D.C., are you there now?
Well, No, I drive for a living, so I'm on 85 sitting in traffic.
Okay.
I'm on my way home, but all of that is a distraction from them files.
But do you think
all of this is a distraction?
Do you think the files matter anymore? I mean, is there anything you think that can come out of the Epstein list that would make MAGA leave Trump?
I see. That's he gonna spin it. if they already done said that they blacked out everything that name of Trump that's in them files. Why are you doing that? And for the Democrats for them to say that the Democrats would Trump is saying that the Democrats, it's a hoax from the Democrats. Well, it was Republicans. He was pushing that during the campaign.
That is true.
So now the Democrats just jumped on and said, hey, go ahead and release them. If it's all Democrats in there, we don't care.
Yeah.
Well, whoever's in there need to be locked up.
Yeah, but let's be clear. The Democrats are using the Epstein scandal as a weapon. I mean, during the Biden administration, the Democrats weren't yelling Epstein, but the Republicans were. And all of a sudden, Trump gets in there now, and he doesn't want anybody talking about it, which makes him look suspicious. But the Democrats suddenly started caring about this when Trump got in office. So the Democrats are not being genuine on it either.
Well, I wouldn't say it's not being genuine, but if you're the one that's talking about the files, he was the one that was talking about the files.
Once again, running his mouth.
If I'm on the Democratic side, I'm saying, okay, you talk about them. Y'all, your Republican friends wanted them files out. I'm just jumping on saying, yeah, go ahead and release them.
I agree with that. Like I said, once again, running his mouth, because you're correct. When Biden was in office, Trump had no problem talking about the Epstein files, trying to beat Biden over the head with it and use it as a political weapon. But then once he got in office, he suddenly wanted everybody to go quiet. So, yeah, running your mouth has consequences.
I think he all in them files. I think that he had something on Trump. And I ain't going to say what happened in that jail, but
well, I will say this. If Trump actually came out and admitted that he had a falling out with Epstein because Epstein took one of his underage spa workers, to me, that's about as suspicious and suspect as shit gets. Why would a real estate mogul like Trump, with all kinds of international businesses and hundreds of assumed employees, care about this man taking a young underage girl from you? I mean, you could hire them by the thousands. Okay, Epstein took one of your chicks at Mar-a-Lago. You could easily have a hiring contest and get 50 of those. Only way you're going to be concerned about him taking this girl is that she had some kind of particular set of skills that made her unique, such as she was already accustomed to doing things for older men that you can't easily replace. I mean, why would he even admit that he was concerned about that?
He stole. Remember, he said he stole her.
Yeah, yeah. That was crazy. How would you even know that? Like, you got as many businesses as you have. You know of particular underage girls by personally that work in a spa. I mean, that just sounds insane.
Remember, he said the people that was in the massage parlor or wherever at Mar-a-Lago came to him and said that he's down there stealing the girls.
Yeah.
So I don't know what she was doing for a piece of change.
Something strange.
But it was making all of his clients unhappy, and he had to say something. So it's just everything that MAGA says. It's hard to talk to them. They say that we don't listen. I listen, but they don't reciprocate the same going the other way.
So then let me ask you the actual question of the program. If you had to, let's say, for instance, somebody just came to the country, or they're calling from overseas because they get our news media and they, on YouTube, and they asked you, What is MAGA? I see all these people wearing red hats and stuff, and some of them say MAGA, some say Make America Great, some say, Keep America Great. What is MAGA? How would you explain that to somebody who did not know what it was?
I would say that they the modern day KKK. Instead of white hats, they red hats.
Damn, you're the second person to say that tonight. You really see comparisons to the KKK?
Yep.
Explain.
The KKK.
Explain. Elaborate. What makes you say that?
Racist, bigots, don't want change. They want to drag us back to where they sat on the porch and black people and everybody else worked for them. They so negative, and everything that Trump does is negative. It's got something negative in it. I don't know of anything that he did that was positive that I could say, you know what, that was okay what he did.
What about securing the border? Is that not positive?
I don't think it's positive. I since I drive, I go on the farms. I pick up loads. Them people don't bother nobody. I don't have an issue with them. Not one bit. I work. Some of my friends are. I wouldn't say they Mexican, from El Salvador. They cool. I talk to them every now and then. I'll call them. Hey, how's it going? But
don't you believe that? I mean, we are a nation of laws. Don't you believe that when people come here, they should come here legally as opposed to skipping a line over people who are trying their best to do it the right way?
Do they say that about them people from Europe that get on a plane and overstay? Don't go back?
I've heard about that. I've heard about that. Maybe not as much. Maybe not. But I mean, the numbers are different too, though.
Yeah. But you're going to have different numbers because Mexico is that's our borders.
Yeah.
They right on the border. All they doing is trying to get some money. They ain't coming over here hurting people like that. It's some, but go for the some. Don't go for all of them.
What about the claim, though, that they come over to the country and they tax our resources? They take jobs, they take black jobs, as Trump would say. What about all of that? That they come over here and they're taking things away from Americans, which is why Trump is saying America first.
What job? I don't know what jobs they talking about.
Oh,
cutting grass,
picking crops, roofing.
What? Okay. Send the white tees out there. See how much you.
I ain't doing that shit. All right, I'll leave it at that.
Picked enough crops.
Yeah, I ain't doing it.
Send the YTs out there. If they want it, they complaining about black jobs. I've been driving for 28 years. Ain't nobody taking my job. Remember, based on merit, right?
That's what they say. That's what they say.
That's what they say. But I remember a time that I couldn't even get it. Back in the 90s when I first started driving, it was companies out there that you couldn't even go to because the whole driver transportation was white.
Ooh.
And they wasn't hiring no black
as
people.
late as the 1990s?
As late as the 90s.
Wow.
It was one. I remember working for a mail company, and I went to this mail company, and it was one old black guy there, and he tried to tell me how to, conduct myself.
How to navigate
and I'm
around.
like, what are you talking about? We are not in the 50s,
Yeah.
But he was stuck in that way, like they not gonna hire you if you don't do this and do. Man, it's the 90s. It's crazy.
Well,
Now,
as Jay-Z once said, tell you how to move in a room full of vultures. I gotta move it on though. Wow, 1990s. That's crazy.
yeah,
Wow, I tried to get on with Load
1990s.
when I was over the road. I tried to get on with Load One as an expediter, and they kind of laughed in my face. So I understand how it can go. But
There you go.
yep, Load One. I was at an expo, and I talked to somebody from Load One. And it was like I was talking to a fucking wall. Driver, stay safe out there. Come on back anytime, man.
All right, thank you.
Good talk. By the way, in the comments, Will G says MAGA ain't shit. Also says Trump ain't shit. Says the party of personal responsibility suddenly don't want to be responsible. The party of states' rights suddenly don't want states to have rights. There's some validity to that. The party of the Constitution suddenly wants to suspend it. He's actually making some hits there. Obviously with Trump Trump stating that indicating that he's going to start sending the National Guard into all of these different states in liberal cities against the wishes of the people that are on the ground there. That's the exact opposite of states' rights. Now, we can talk about crime in these liberal cities that, look, let's be clear. Trump don't give a shit about the operations in liberal cities. All of a sudden you want to bring down crime in Chicago. You're not a friend. Nobody in Chicago is voting for you. I mean, I hate to say it like that. I know I'm speculating. 100% of the voters in Chicago don't vote liberal, but the overwhelming majority of that city votes left. So Trump pretending like he suddenly cares about the crime in Chicago, nobody in that city is buying that. Nobody in Los Angeles is buying that. You suddenly care about this city nobody's buying that. So, it does go against states' rights when you're sending in the federal agents and you're sending in the National Guard against the wishes of the people in that state. It is going against states' rights. And that could end up coming back to bite folks on the right in future presidencies. When you start talking about, in my opinion, I think that's going to happen in a lot of stuff, is that you're going to be watching segments of Fox News or something like that, and you're going to hear Gutfield and Dana Perino and all them trying to explain, well, it was okay when Trump did it, but it's not okay when this other person is doing it now, because Trump has opened up the floodgates for future presidents to do a lot of wild shit that we were okay with him doing, such as telling the state, find me 5 additional seats. You had never had nothing like that happening before. I get there was gerrymandering. The liberals have gerrymandered, so have the Republicans. But Trump is having Texas gerrymander only 4 years later, when they normally do it on a 10-year census. It's usually every decade. So he's jumping the gun and having it done in 4 years right before the midterms, and actually publicly stating, I need 5 seats. So that means you're telling the people in Texas, some of y'all vote ain't gonna matter. I'm going to get 5 seats in your area no matter how you vote. I'm going to literally change your area to suit me. And I know that's going to happen before the vote is even cast. So you're telling people in those districts, their vote ain't even gonna matter. You already know the outcome. How is that not fixing an election to some degree? Now, if you're going to point to the liberals and say they did it as well, then you're not even defending him. You're just saying, okay, well, they did the same thing. You're kind of admitting he's doing it. So I will say that in the future, that is something that I'm 100% certain the right will not want done to them. And we're okay with Trump doing it. And there's a lot of things that Trump has done that falls under that umbrella. I would suggest that what Mitch McConnell did to Obama, blocking a Supreme Court pick, he's opened up the floodgates for that to happen in the future. For all of a sudden, the liberal Senate to just block a pick based on nothing. Well, it's kind of close to the election, so we won't take a vote. I mean, we've had a lot of shit happen, predominantly on the right. I'm not exonerating the left. The left has done some things in the past, but this last 10 years or so, it's been, for the most part, as Trump says, you're going to get tired of winning. He didn't say he was going to win by the usual methods. He's doing a lot of unorthodox shit that I'm 100% confident if a liberal in the future starts doing this stuff to the Republicans, they're not going to like. Going after Republican schools and institutions, you're not going to like that. All of a sudden, now you got conservatives putting the 10 Commandments and shit in schools, and they don't have a choice. You okay with the Quran being forced into school? Probably not. So you're okay with a lot of stuff that you're not going to be okay with the opposite. If he turns into some type of permanent leader, then you're okay, so be it. But if he continues going the way it's going, where you got Republican leaders and you got Democrat leaders, and the way it's been throughout history, you've opened the door for, I mean, you've given all the future presidents immunity. Tell me that can't go wrong. Where you've given future presidents immunity. You've allowed future presidents to now send the National Guard in public cities and shit for whatever they deem as a liberal. Tell me none of this can go wrong if a liberal can do it. What happens if the liberals look at high crime rates in cities and say that it's being done by way of guns, and therefore we have a gun emergency, and then they start using federal laws and federal agents to enact that, because that's what we let Trump do. So I'm just simply telling you, what you like today, you might not like tomorrow. That's my only point I'm making. Will G says the party of don't vote for the guy that came up with 94 crime bill and too many black men got locked up suddenly wants to create their own crime bill and charge 14-year-olds, mostly blacks, as adults. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. That's a home run. We talked about that yesterday, that during the election, the left, better yet, the right was overly criticizing Biden for his 94 crime bill, suggesting how many black folks that Biden and Kamala Harris with the 3 strike laws in California, they were locking up all kinds of black people. And now here comes Trump talking about he's about to propose a new crime bill in a predominantly black city. And suddenly you don't hear them saying the same thing. But fact is, Trump's crime bill is going to lock up a bunch of black people. Not to mention Judge Jeanine Pirro making it clear, I want to get the juveniles too. Juveniles are getting away with shit, so we want to get those kids too. It's going to lock up a lot of black people. It's going to do exactly what they were criticizing Biden for. And this time, they're probably going to like it. Anyway, looking in the comments, though, they swear they don't use the N-word. Who are you talking about? This guy needs dialysis. Now, I might need fucking sleep. That's what I might fucking need. I see no problem with that. Don't do the crime. Well, like I said, you can't beat Biden over the head with it, but then suddenly be okay when Trump does it. And that's happened a lot, where Trump is doing things that you're okay with, that you criticized in previous years when it was done by a liberal. I even heard people criticizing Barack Obama putting kids in cages. It suddenly became acceptable when Trump was doing it. I'm just simply saying, if you're okay with it, you're okay with it. But you can't be okay with Trump doing something that you were highly critical of when it was happening from the previous president, such as I mentioned, the crime bill. I'll give you another one. Back in 2012, President Barack Obama at the time threatened Syria that if they continue using chemical weapons, the United States military would act. It was called at the time Obama drawing a red line in the sand. Syria didn't listen to Obama. They didn't heed his threat. And Obama did not follow through. You had folks suggesting that shows that Obama was a weak leader. He didn't have any backbone. Many folks on the right were... Trump talked about it too, by the way. Trump actually criticized Obama for not following through on his threat. Now, in modern times, Trump made a threat that if Russia did not back down on their threat or on their war with the Ukraine, he was going to impose sanctions and punitive measures in 50 days on Russia. Russia didn't budge. Trump dropped it down to 10 days. Russia didn't budge. The 10th day was last Friday. Trump ain't followed through on none of that shit. Now, all of a sudden, they're having a talk tomorrow. So he's giving Russia a third attempt to follow through. He hasn't followed through on his threats. This is strike number 3 now. And he's saying, of course, he's saying if the talks don't produce anything, he's going to have harsh punishments on Russia. As if it listened to the harsh threats he made if they didn't adhere to the 10-day and 50-day threat. They're not budging. But the right is saying that what Trump is doing is okay, but they were heavily critical on Obama's line in the sand. There's no difference between those two things. Both presidents threatened the nation. The nation did not buckle. And we're criticizing Obama when he didn't follow through, but we're giving Trump multiple chances. I'm just simply saying, you got to look at it from both ways. What Trump did is almost the same damn thing as Obama's line in the sand. Do this or we're going to do something harsh to you. Russia didn't listen. And now we're on the third attempt to get Russia to cooperate. The third attempt. He ain't going to do shit, and Putin knows that since King Fan. I believe that. I actually believe that. I do believe that Putin is, I don't believe anything positive is going to come. What I think is going to happen, remember the whole you don't have the cards that was at Zelensky? Zelensky makes an easier punching bag than Putin does because Zelensky is desperate and needs us. Putin does not. So my guess is, and I'm speculating here, but since it's only less than 24 hours before they meet, we can see how this works on the next show. So you can see if my comment ages well or if it comes across as if I was full of shit. My guess is that Putin is going to make demands that he gets to keep some of the areas they are not occupying in Ukraine. Zelensky's not going to agree with that. And Trump is going to start attacking Zelensky, saying that you need to give up some shit so that you guys can survive. And Zelensky going forward is going to be the enemy and is going to start looking at it as if Putin is willing to come to the table and barter, but Zelensky is not. He's going to start actually criticizing Zelensky for refusing to give up some of his country and indicate that it is Zelensky now that wants to keep fighting, not Putin. That's what I believe is going to happen. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe that after this talk they have tomorrow, the United States is going to swing once again to the other side of this fight and start being critical of Zelensky again and not Russia. Because Russia would be happy to temporarily pause the fighting at this point where they don't took, a ton of miles of the Ukraine. If they get to keep what they've taken so far, they've essentially won a little bit. So Zelensky is not going to want to give up territory, so they're not going to want to do that. And Trump is going to start blaming them for not wanting to give up their territory and indicate that, well, it's you guys that want to keep fighting. The Russians were willing to come to the table and stop fighting. You guys want to keep doing this, and you don't have the cards. That's what's going to happen, in my opinion, is that we're going to come out of this talk no longer being favorable to Zelensky. Now, the European theater is not going to like it. They're not going to side with America, but Trump doesn't give a shit about that. I sent you a video on Instagram of a white guy throwing a sub. I've heard about that. The sub sandwich, and Pam Bondi fired that guy. Apparently, the guy worked for the federal government. Threw a sandwich in the face, a Subway sandwich in the face of an agent in D.C. and ran away. Not one shot or taser. If the guy was black, we already know you think if a black man threw a sandwich, they would have killed him. Jesus. I don't know, Will. I don't know about that one. You gonna shoot somebody over a sandwich? You think that ICE would have killed them for throwing a sandwich in their face? I don't know. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying it's impossible, but damn, a sandwich? Yeah. And King Finn, you're right. He says, notice how Zelensky was not invited. Yeah, because Zelensky is not part of they're going to demand that Ukraine give up some of that territory. And if they don't, we're going to start blaming the Ukraine. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate the 87. We didn't quite make 100. I appreciate the 87,000. Unfortunately, I do got to do what everybody has to do. I got to go out and earn a living in the morning. I appreciate you guys tuning in, as always. Feel free to follow the program if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok. Give your boy a sub if you're watching on YouTube. And follow the page, Tim Liberals, on Facebook. It would be a big help for me to get the next platform going. So until then, you guys stay safe, be cool. I'll see you in less than 24 hours. See you tomorrow. We're going to see how what I just said ages in this meeting. Because I definitely believe Russia's going to be told by the United States, we're okay with you keeping that territory. I believe Zelensky is about to become an enemy again, but we'll see how it ages.